The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think
He missed the complete. That is crazy
As I
stuff.
said, Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
What was known as the Northwest Majors last year has taken a significant leap forward. The series impressed with its diverse styles of racing, competitive talent, and fantastic battles. But not wanting to sit on his laurels, organizer Mike Willett has brought in new, talented clubs, tweaked the format to be even more closely fought, and renamed the series the Pacific Majors to better reflect its more inclusive nature. As with the real world of racing, this year kicks off with an endurance race here at the legendary Daytona road course. With so many new unknowns entering the mix, we all eagerly anticipate this first race of the season. You're watching the Pacific Majors Daytona 2.4 live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak. With me in the booth is my most literate of peers, Mr. Bill Zahn. Also with us to give insight into the great variety of sports cars out on track today is Kevin Brown. Our director is Giancarlo Lindsay, and our camera set has been provided by Dougie Beard. Bill, I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot of this track in the next month or two. Tell us a little bit about the circuit.
Well, we all know the oval track, and you caught me by surprise. I didn't know I was up for doing that one. It's the Daytona circuit, and I don't have my stats up there, so let's talk about it. It's made most of it is the oval section that you've seen on NASCAR. It uses probably more of the oval than most infield road courses do. They break up the oval with the bus stop, which is really fun. Slows them down a little bit. And then there's the infield section, which is, I think, kind of simple as far as an infield section go, which I guess is kind of nice to have on a long race like this.
Absolutely, and you can see some of the stats on your screen. That is 3.56 miles and has 12 turns, and as said in the intro, it is a 2.4 hour race. But let's hop onto a lap guide and see what it's like on board the Z4 around here. Alright, we've got Kevin Brown behind the wheel of the GSRC BMW, so let's do a lap around Daytona. You brake for turn 1 immediately after the start-finish. It's a curved braking zone, transitions from banking to flat, and you're coming from the fastest part of the track to one of the slowest. How's that for a route introduction? Slip through this chicane flat out, and then stay left to brake for the International Horseshoe. This is a potential passing zone, so be aware of your mirrors. You'll have a paved access road to the left, so you can use every bit of track to carry more speed off that exit. As we transition back right, the kink is going to be a flat-out blast, but you gotta get back to the left side very quickly and get set up for the Western Horseshoe. This is a really tricky apex to hit, and it's not uncommon to see cars slip wide. Now we get ready for 6, one of the most important corners on the track. This will dump you back onto the oval, so making sure your car is planted at the exit is going to determine how soon you can get on the loud pedal and carry your speed all the way around NASCAR 1 and 2. The good thing is, the steep Daytona banking means speeds are high, and picking up a draft is pretty easy. Stay within range, and you can ride the coattails of a faster car. If you've got the speed to clear the car ahead, do it. Otherwise, be wary of trying to outbrake them, because now you're going to spot your brake marker for the bus stop. It's very, very easy to blow any of these 4 apexes and get a cut course penalty. If you did it right, you're on the power before you've hit the 3rd apex. And it's going to be even more important than turn 6 that you get this right. Like I said at the start of the lap, this will lead you to the fastest part of the circuit. But like most rovals, you can expect a drafting game to play out, and cars are likely to attempt a last lap snipe. Your best hope is to push hard and break the draft before then. If you can, you really want to be the second car in line coming out of the bus stop. But that's a lap around Daytona. Welcome back. So, with 4 different clubs competing this time and quite a few members, there's a number of championships that are up for grabs this season over the course of the year. Kevin, what should our viewers be paying attention to as the races progress?
Joe, there are a whole mess of championships up for grabs, essentially. There are 3 overall championships, there's one overall championship for everybody. There's one called the Sportsman Championship, and that is for drivers about under a 2,000 I rating, official I rating. It's not exact. Some guys were put above it, some guys are put below it, kind of a combined thing for ovals and road I rating. There's also a Legends division for the more gentleman-like drivers that are 50 years old and over. And then there are a whole mess of regional championships as well. There's a Governor's Cup that will be awarded to the club, the iRacing club with the most points, and then there are oval and road championships, all available for each of the 4 iRacing clubs: Club California, Club Northwest, Club Texas, and Club West. And then each club also has an individual overall championship. California's is called the Big Kahuna for the most points. The Northwest is the Bigfoot, with Brian Barnes the defending champion of that, and an awesome trophy it is. Texas, of course, also has one yet. They have yet to name it, as well as Club West. They have not named theirs as well. And then there's a couple other awards available. An Ironman Award is up for anybody that completes all 12 races, and there's also a People's Choice Award that will be given to the most respected driver, and it'll be voted on by the other drivers. So a lot of hardware out there for people to claim.
Just about could have everybody be a winner, it seems. Well, Bill, I have to imagine some of these drivers are going to have their heat vision turned on. Talk about the Predator format that is going to be unique to these multi-class races.
We are going in uncharted territory here. Now, here's the way this is going to work. It's all one class. All the cars are put together in one class, but the faster cars are going to be sitting in the pits when the green flag waves. So the Rileys are in the pits for 3.5 minutes. And then the vets come out for 4.5 minutes. So the GT3 cars are going to be out there getting probably 2 or 3, maybe even a 4-lap lead on these guys. Now, the question that we were all talking about here in the booth before we went live was, what is the attitude of the GT3 cars when a faster car comes up behind them? In the past, they get out of the way. It's just common courtesy. But now, even though one of the vets or the Rileys might be 2 or 3 laps behind you, you're still racing for position because it's whoever gets to the green flag first. So it's really going to be interesting to see the politics of racing as this Predator style racing runs its course.
Indeed, we all are kind of curious to see how it's going to play out and who decides to drive in what way. It's all kind of, I guess, up to each, unless they start to decide a etiquette and agree on that at some point during the season. As far as we know, it's however you want to attack it. Speaking of attack, one thing that the drivers can't attack is the tires, at least for the DPs early on. Kevin, you were telling us a little bit about what it's going to be like for these guys on cold tires.
And Joe, if we can show George Sandman right now, he is on an outlap and he is struggling in the infield right now. And that is going to be the story of the Daytona prototypes on their outlap. Those tires are treacherously horrible to drive on. There's no grip, and Sandman almost goes around. He almost went around in every single corner on the outlap. And if you're not aware of the name of George Sandman, this guy in the Riley is one of the best drivers on iRacing, as far as I'm concerned, in a car. He is phenomenal in the Riley, and if he's struggling to control the car, then it's wicked nasty, and that's going to be a big story. Is the Riley is very, very slow and very, very prone to spinning in the infield. So if there's another GT3 car around that Riley on that outlap, that GT3 car has some serious questions to ask, as in, do I want to push it and maybe wreck us both if he can't control himself offline, or do I want to get held up several seconds inside in the infield? So this is going to be an interesting story that I'm going to have my eye on all night.
Yeah, and speaking of talking about the speed of George Sandman, he is the only DP driver, apparently, who qualified faster than the Corvettes, from what I understand. And that probably sounds unusual because you'd think the prototypes are faster than one of the GT cars. But apparently here with the long straights, the power and oomph of that Corvette makes it faster than the majority of the Daytona prototypes out there. So That is why when these cars are released, the Corvettes are going to be released after the Daytona prototypes, and we'll go over that timing in just a moment. Pit stops. Pit stops are always a thing that we need to worry about. Strategy. Bill, we talked a little bit about what's going to be happening, and Kevin, you can pipe in on this since I know you tend to be pretty knowledgeable. What are we looking at for the different classes?
I think we're looking at 2 stops for all the classes. It's just a matter that the vets are going to be limited. They're going to have to really, their window's going to be very small because they have enough to get a run, a full run, a full run, and a full run to get to the end. I think everybody else can maybe play around with their pit stops, get a little larger windows. We're thinking that the GT3s can probably go about 31 to 32 laps, while the vets may be limited to somewhere to the mid to high 20s at best.
And the other thing that'll be curious now is that, Kevin, the interesting sort of Le Mans rules that are applied to the GT3 cars that are out there.
And this is the part I have to ask you, what on earth are you talking about, Joe?
Okay, sorry. I guess
want to know
Kevin
too, so go ahead, Joe.
isn't up on his Daytona rules. No, the Le Mans rules for pit stops is that they cannot take tires and fuel at the same time. So the GT3 cars are going to have a slightly longer stops than the Corvettes and the Daytona prototypes. So that'll be something else that these guys will have to be thinking about, and also how they want to do the tires and fuel as far as their pit stops go. So keep an eye out for that, and I guess I'll have to talk to you guys both later about how Le Mans runs their races. So one thing that I do know that you know about, Kevin, is the passing zones. What are going to be the popular places around this track?
Well, you know me, I always say that the entire racetrack is a passing zone. But having said that, the question is, will the GT3 cars actually try and pass each other? And that's something I don't know. But the easy places, well, relatively easy places to pass are turn 1 coming off the banking. That's pretty much the prime place to pass. It's your best opportunity. Faster cars will try for the International Horseshoe, which is the first hairpin. And then also the banking back on the NASCAR is going to be the easy place to pass as well for the very faster cars. We may see some guys attempt going into the bus stop. That's always a move I frown upon because it just slows you down and slows them down. And it looks like the checker flag is out for qualifying, so final lap counts now, guys.
Absolutely, and these guys have been working on that for quite a while. They've had 6 hours to qualify, but with 42 cars out on track, I feel like that's a fair amount of time. We were kind of discussing that earlier before the race and trying to figure out why they needed so much, and there's a lot of cars and lots of different speeds, so obviously these guys are going to need as much time as possible to try to get some clean track out there and see what they can do as far as getting a hot lap in. As you said, everybody is just finishing that up, so I'm going to let that clear since we got a pace lap to run through things before worrying about what the qualifying times were. So gosh, with such an unusual format, this is definitely going to be a big question for the race. Who is you guys' pick?
Well, I think I kind of said it already. For me, it's George Sandman. The guy's just too good in that car, and I think he's going to be able to pull this one out. The Riley at Daytona is just kind of a magical combination when you get it working, and I'm sure Sandman's got it working, and I think he's just going to pull it out.
For me, I think one of the key factors to the race is going to be the pit stops, and so because of that, I am going with Jason Pitts, because I'm just assuming he's going to be really good at pit stops.
Well, he's got a lot to live up to then. See if he can hold that out. We've got just a few seconds left, and I think actually everybody is off track. Yes, it looks like there's nobody else out, so that should be solidified for qualifying times. Let's go through the order while they get ready to grid up in about 10 seconds times. George Sandman, as we said, is on pole with a 138.3. Ryan Toma starts behind him with a 138.6, just a 10th back in that Corvette. David Ankeny starts in third with a 139.4. Then it's Rob Gall starting on the outside of the second row with a 139.6. In fifth, it's Jason Pitts. Behind him, it's Kyle Murphy in sixth. Then it's Brian Barnes starting in seventh, Stephen Paulison in eighth, Matt Gelder in ninth, and Carl Burke starts in 10th. Bill?
In 11th, it's Alan Hasebeck. Mike Taylor in 12th. In the Baker's Dozen spot, it's William Fletcher. Wayne Hutchinson is behind him. Brett Trelson in the 15th position. Lionel Callisto in 16th. Jason Felici. I'm going to try that one again. I'm going to get this one. Felici. I'm going to go with Felici on that. Matt Caldwell. Jumbo. Oh, I liked Jimbo Pfeiffer. I love Jimbo Pfeiffer. It's good to see him here today. And Ryan Otis in 20th position. Kev?
In 21st and 22nd are the TNT teammates of David Williams and James Wyckoff. 23rd, Larry Ford. 24th, Jason Lundy. 25th, James Paulson. Brendan Hobbert in 26th and Brian Bennett in 27th. Michael Lane is in 28th. Robert Harris, 29th. Michael Smith will be in 30th, Joe.
Then in 31st, it's Chris Beck, followed by Matthew Rogers in 32nd. M. Jocelyn starts in 33rd, followed by Ryan Worley in 34th. Taft Baldwin in 35th, Gary Nichols in 36th. 37th is Michael Dow. Then it's John Brown in 38th, Ben Blank in 39th, Robert Pridis in 40th, followed by Andy Kennedy in 41st. And rounding out the field is Chris Pence in the 42nd and final spot on the grid. Now, here's one of the interesting things about this. We've got the three different classes, even though they're all racing in the same class against each other. And the slowest class, the GT3 cars, has 4 different cars out there. And Kevin, you are kind of my go-to as far as car expertise. Tell us a little bit about the differences between these 4, and what are some of the strengths and weaknesses around this circuit?
Well, there's only actually 3 tonight. The BMW Z4 GT3, the McLaren MP412C GT3, and the Roof RT12R Track, which is equivalent to some sort of Porsche car, but it's not a Porsche. We all know it's actually a Roof, right? So the big differences are that there really aren't a whole lot of differences. The cars are all pretty similar here. They all have slightly better performance into the corners or out of the corners, which can be negated by a different driving style. The BMWs are typically kind of the better all-around car. The McLarens are very good in high-speed corners, and they're very good getting on the power, especially in turn 6, the all-critical turn 6, which gets you back onto the braking. The Roos are all very, very, very fast under braking, very good at that. However, the Roos all might be running very little wing, so they may have a lot of top-end speed tonight. We'll have to watch that. And from what we understand, they're a little more fuel efficient than the rest of the field. So it's nice to see that the top 3 in the GT3 field are all 3 different makes. So we should see some good racing tonight.
And a little note, one thing that in our not being used to this format, since it's the slowest class it's starting, you can see that it's Lionel Callisto who is actually starting on the front row with Jason Fleischle, who is starting beside him. So since everybody else is technically starting in their qualifying position, since the pit order follows that, they are not starting the race necessarily that way in the rows that I had listed earlier on. So you can see on your screen all the GT3 cars now entering the banking of the NASCAR corners of the oval course here at Daytona, and then we'll get 2.4 hours out there. Some nice looking cars out on track, and should be a good one out under the lights tonight. So it's definitely going to be an educational race with this second season of what was once the Northwest Majors, now the Pacific Majors, and we're all going to be learning along with you today.
Fleischle's cars look beautiful. Isn't that a beautiful car up there sitting on the inside of the row?
It's looking wonderful. Unfortunately, it looks like Trading Paints is not operating well with us, as it's white currently. Now it's got a paint job on the screen. There we go, as we go by the the Ferris wheel on the infield. So so we apologize for that.
The racing gods are trying to make me look like an idiot tonight, aren't they?
No, they're just making us look a little bit silly. It's not our fault necessarily. Sometimes trading paints acts a little screwy, but it looks like now it's starting to behave with us. And a beautiful martini paint job on our leader there, our pole sitter of Lionel Callisto. I love that paint job. I'm a Williams fan myself, so have to. Oh, excuse me. That's not Lionel. He's in the BMW. That's Matt Caldwell. Excuse me. Matt has the nice paint scheme there, sitting in third on the grid. So that is going to be nice. Actually, a lot of classic schemes as Jimbo Pfeiffer's running the Gulf scheme in his roof there. You can see inside. Now we're coming out of NASCAR 4. Pace car is going to peel off very soon here, and then we are going to see if everybody can manage to make it through this first corner nice and clean. Once again, and I actually don't think we mentioned it, the Corvettes are going to be released at 4:40 and the DPs at 3:30. Pace car is off, green flag is out, and away we go. Clean start, it seems, for our leader of Lionel. Most everybody into the braking looks pretty trepidatious. It's a long race ahead. Nobody's making any wild moves here into this first corner, and it looks like it's clean all the way through, Bill.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. All the way back to the entire GT3 field got through the first corner clean.
Yeah, I saw some side-by-side action, but everybody keeping their nose clean, looks like, no, there's one last side-by-side battle, but it's sorted out, so it looks like these guys realize that this is not the time to be racing side-by-side, although now, again, there is a side-by-side battle between John Brown and Chris Pence going side-by-side through the kink. That's not really a place you want to be doing that, guys.
Especially this early on, but I guess every position is going to count out here. They're going to want to try and get as much of a gap as they can to the cars behind now as they enter onto the oval, as we ride on board with John Brown, and he is following a McLaren. I'm trying to figure out who that is just ahead of him. Looks like Chris E. Pence, and Chris is going to try and make his way past Andy Kennedy, in fact, as they head towards the backstretch.
What I think's happening here, I think the sheeps are all decided to stay in line and try to get away from the wolves. They're going to be coming out in about another 3 minutes. So, yeah, I'd like this. I would try to get much distance between the predators as you could, because these guys are certainly going to be the hunted.
Absolutely, almost have to work together in these early stages. It looks like Pence decided to back off of Kennedy into the bus stop wisely. Now he's going to get a draft heading up towards turn 1. Let's see if he's going to try and make it cleanly by. He's definitely pulling in, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm watching this battle for 6 between Ryan Otis and David Williams, and it sorts out as David Williams goes very deep into turn 1, manages to hold on to it, though, using quite a generous amount of the track. But these guys are side by side all the way out of the bus stop, and up front, these guys are a little clean, although as soon as I say that, there's now side by side. But Matt Caldwell got around Lionel Callisto using that draft to switch the lead. So these guys are fighting a little more than I expected right off the bat. Not really sure why they're doing that. They really should just be trying to hook up in each other's draft and pull away from those predators that are coming behind them, Bill.
Yeah, Otis and Wyckoff really got close together there. They managed to get through it, but I don't know. Yeah, seems a little bit early to being so feisty.
Well, it could just be a lack of experience in this style of racing. I don't think we mentioned it, but there is a lot of different styles of racing that are going to happen in this championship. So some of these guys might be typically oval drivers and having to get used to multi-class sports car racing. And like you said, this is a new format. Meanwhile, I'm looking at Williams, who's trying to get by Jimbo Pfeiffer coming down into the bus stop. He's got the inside line, but he doesn't have a nose in, and it looks like he's going to back out into the braking zone.
Yeah, Williams is looking very, very racy tonight. He and his teammate James Wyckoff were at or near the top of the leaderboards in almost every practice session this week. So you know they've got pace, and with the two of them, almost under each other's bumpers, they're going for it. But here goes Williams is around the outside of Pfeiffer. I don't know if he's got enough draft because Jimbo's got his own draft going on, but Jimbo's getting boxed in a little bit. Williams might get 2 positions here before they cross start-finish, and he is going to get those 2 as we see the DP cars are out on pit lane in front of the GT3 leaders. This is going to get exciting, boys.
Ooh, and he gave a bump to Fleischle, who was boxing him in, but thankfully they managed to hold on to it. There might be quite a bit of damage on the front end of Jimbo, though. And as you said, we've got these DPs coming out as Mike Taylor is in the thick of it.
Alan Hasbeck in that red DP, he's trying to hold on to the car.
Oh.
The International Horseshoe, he's off. And yeah, as you can see, those cold tires are sticking out already, guys.
As we ride on board with Dave Williams, who is getting very close as well with some of his competitors. So,
Oh, we got a car spinning. It looks like it was a DP car of William Fletcher spun it.
And I can confirm that the back of Jason Fleischle is all busted up. He's got some significant damage to his rear.
We're looking at replay of Fletcher coming into the west. Oh, and he got some help from behind as a BMW hit him into the escape road there. So actually he got very lucky that he was hit there and managed to just come back onto the track almost. I'm sure he got a slowdown from that, though, unfortunately.
You know, Kevin, that couldn't have worked out worse for the DP cars to be put out right in front of the GT3 cars.
Oh, you're telling me. But you know what? Who's looking pretty good? George Sandman. He got out in front of everybody and was able to nurse those cold tires, and now he's on hot tires, and he should be pulling around. But yeah, damage report, Jimbo Pfeiffer, damage on his front end, Jason Fleischle, damage on his rear end. That's going to affect both of them. And we should note that everybody does have a fast reset in this race today.
Well, as we watch Sandman, they're still battling up at the front of the field between Fleischle and Wyckoff. Wyckoff trying to go around the outside of turn one, doesn't have it. He looks to the inside, coming into the International Horseshoe from a long way back. Fleischle gives him room, but can't quite get it done. So, still with Wyckoff sitting in fourth place.
Maybe we can get GL to go get a look here at George Sandman, like Kevin was saying. He's now out in front of everybody. He's your first DP car, and he's cleared all the traffic, so he's out there running some hot laps. That's a guy we're going to keep our eye on for the next 2.5 hours. Well,
and we should
2 hours
point
and
out
50 minutes.
All the Corvettes have been released. Looks like they're clean and running on track and has some time to make up. Looks like the leader in the Corvettes is Ryan Toma. He's about 33 seconds behind the last DP of Brett Trosten.
And he also has some clear track, so it looks like the Corvettes got a little bit luckier than the DPs did as far as being released into some open track to try and rifle off those laps. But they are going to catch things soon enough, and then it's really going to start going off. I'm not sure if
we got to spin on the exit of the bus stop. Jimbo Pfeiffer and Jason Lundy touch exiting the bus stop. Both go around. I'm trying to find Lundy. I couldn't see if he went into the wall or not. And it looks like he did. Oh, boy, Jason Lundy's got big damage on his back early in the race.
Yeah, we're watching that replay now as they come onto the backstretch. And as he just peeks out with that BMW and to the inside, like you said, just not a good idea, especially early on. And having a little bit of a connection issue with them as they disappear for a moment. But I did see on mine that they did come together side by side, and that kind of tipped them both into the infield, as you can see now as they come back. So, oh yeah, definitely into the wall for that BMW. So, these guys running into trouble, getting a quick lesson in how not to run the start of an endurance race.
What you don't want to do, you get a free car here. So for new viewers, if you damage your car, you can come in and iRace and we'll give you another one. It's like a do-over. But you can really take advantage of that. If you can get a do-over during the pit window, it's not nearly as expensive as it is right now. Those guys who are going to come in and get a new car, they're still going to have to make 2 more pit stops.
And guys, Lundy and Pfeiffer both came in and got that reset. Looks like their damage was just too much. I wonder if that damage that Jimbo had on the front of his car from the contact with Jason Fleischle contributed to this accident that he had with Jason Lundy, as Pfeiffer puts it into the wall on the exit of pit.
Oh, God, we just saw that on air. Embarrassing moment for Pfeiffer. He gets another lesson in the road course at Daytona. So I guess he'll have a lot to remember the next time he comes back here. Just a quick update. Gary Nichols got hit from behind by Andy Kennedy. That sent him into the tires in the International Horseshoe. And then just behind them, there was another car off in turn 1. And trying to figure out who that is real quick. I believe that was Taft Baldwin, but he came back with no incident, just an off track into the grass, mowing the lawn a little bit, and continues on, no damage, hopefully. But a number of cars into action early on as we look at Matt Caldwell heading into turn 1, and we got some side-by-side action just ahead of him.
Yeah, James Wyckoff there taking over another position of Matt Caldwell. Wyckoff is the man on the move right now. He is looking extraordinarily racy.
Yeah, seems to know his stuff, and if I recall last season, he was one of those drivers that was definitely up there on the road courses, so he's handling himself... No,
because he wasn't in any of the races, Joe.
Oh, well, never mind then. Well, I remember him from somewhere being quite handy. It's a name I remember. So, James from Texas Club sitting in second at the moment, trying to run down Lionel Callisto, who started on the front row, but has been holding his own so far.
Now, back up front is still Callisto and Wyckoff and Caldwell. Now, Fleischle has dropped down to 4th place in that beautiful McLaren. He was running up there as far as 2nd. He's dropped a few positions. And Ryan Otis is in 5th right now. So that's your top 5 and the actual leaders. We'll try to figure out how those other cars are doing back there, the Vetts and the Rileys.
Go ahead.
No, the first Riley is George Sandman, and he is chasing down David Williams, who had some contact. Did we catch that earlier?
I'm not sure if we did, but...
Because Williams came in and got his free repair. Looks like... he spun it on the exit of the bus stop on lap 3, right into the wall, blew his engine. So he definitely had to take advantage of that reset.
Oh, and we have a pass for the lead. Lionel Callisto is being passed by James down out of the tri-oval into turn 1. That is done and dusted even before they hit the braking zone.
So TNT Racing kind of showing the two extremes here, one up front and one in the back.
So looking like good times for James Wyckoff already in lap 7, overtaking the lead. Matt Caldwell sitting in 3rd just behind them as we hop on board with Callisto, who is trying to run down that Texas driver. And in 4th, we also have Jason Fleischle, who is still in things despite having quite a rough rear ender into turn 1 earlier on in the race from Jimbo Pfeiffer. So it looks like that damage hasn't hurt him too much, thankfully being in the rear. Looks like his aerodynamics are pretty safe. Then rounding out the top 5, is not Alan Hesbeck, I believe. It's Ryan Otis, it looks like, in the roof just behind the DP of Alan Hesbeck, who is currently sitting in 11th position. That can't be right. No, excuse me, 28th position.
And to get back to Jason Fleischle, the thing that's working in his advantage right now is he is staying in the draft of the cars in front of him, and that's really helping him out. He's within that magic 1.5 second number as Hessebeck takes out Matt Cadwell into the bus stop. Fleischle gets caught up in that as well. Oh boy, 3 cars involved here.
Did he actually make contact, though? On my screen, it looked like it was, if it was barely a glancing blow. Let's look at the replay as they're heading onto the backstretch here. See if he actually touched or not. That was close times. It's so hard to know when a car gets hit in front of you where they're going to wind up sometimes. Looking at Caldwell, who has that DP come up just behind him, just couldn't sneak it in. Hefty hit into the rear. And it was hard to tell from that angle whether or not they touched. Looks like the side of his...
Yeah, you can see Caldwell, the back of his car gets punted up by the DP, and then when Fleischle comes through, they hit as well.
We're getting a better angle here. Oh, yep, just a nudge. So hopefully that's not enough to hurt the front end of his car, but already the front and the rear messed up for poor Fleischle, but he continues on, and he's going to hold the 3rd spot for now.
And the strategy part of that means that Fleischle and Caldwell are now 6 seconds behind Wyckoff and Callisto in 1st and 2nd. They have lost that draft battle for the front, so this is going to be difficult for them to kind of catch up.
I'm trying to get a look, and it looks like there's a little bit of a dent on that left front of Fleischle, that Red Bull McLaren, but it's not significant. If it is, it's difficult to tell. Yeah, he might not even have damage, it looks like. It looks like we're hearing it's dented just slightly. And the only reason we're giving this so much thought and care is because this is such a fast track with these long oval portions that you're set at such a disadvantage if you have any sort of damage on the front of your car out here. So he's got Matt Caldwell, you can see in that roof behind him trying to catch up. Also Ryan Otis, who is gaining on him. We might have a pass for the fifth position rather, as he ducks to the inside, and it looks like Caldwell is just going to give this one up. Oh, and he's going to give 2 positions up.
I think that's a smart thing to do right now. A lot of smoke right there in turn 1. Not sure what caused all that, but I think that's a smart play for Caldwell. Just kind of get in the draft, kind of gather your things going, and let people who are feeling a little aggressive go ahead and go.
We're on board with Larry Ford, who grabbed that position from Matt Caldwell. Also riding in that orange and black roof there, driving for the Texas Club as they head through the infield. But that battle is done, so let's check elsewhere and see what we can find. Just behind them, actually some close action going on between Michael Smith and M. Jocelyn.
Yeah, Jocelyn, M. Jocelyn, we don't know their first name, so we can't really clarify that, but has had a good run through the back of the field. And speaking of the back of the field, sounds like there's a good battle going on in the vets, Bill.
I'm seeing that the name is Cameron, actually.
Let's go back. I know we're going to take the viewers back to 34th position. You're saying, why are we going back to 34th position? Well, we got a 4-car battle back here on the vets, and these guys are going to be up front before the night's over. It's Pitts in that white car, and then followed by Barnes in that beautiful blue vet there. Ankeny in another kind of white and gray car there, and that black car there is Murphy. Now, these guys are running 34th through 37th. They're 2nd through 4th in the vets. Now, our leader is in the vet is Toma, who's way up. He's really put a distance between them. So between we're going to have to keep an eye on Toma and keep an eye on Sandman, because those guys are really the class of their car.
We're hearing... Oh, sorry, we had a little bit of a glitch in timing and scoring there. But yeah, Sandman is still out there circulating. Brian Barnes had Ankeny just close up under the braking. Oh, and he had a side-by-side just behind him. Gary Nichols trying to defend from Kyle Murphy. And that's our first interclass action where we saw defense from a driver in the other class, it looks like.
Sandman's now 1 lap down, so he's... won't be too long before we'll start getting timing and scoring and see actually as he closes up on these guys. We can't really get the distance when they're more than a lap down.
Meanwhile, David Ankeny is able to relinquish a position from Brian Barnes into turn 1, so that is going to put him up into the 35th position, I'm seeing.
And interestingly enough, I'm sorry to bump in, James Wyckoff has just lapped his teammate David Williams. So these guys are now in a position to team up and work together as we lost our 2nd place GT car. What happened there?
Not entirely sure. Yeah, Jason Fleischle is into 2nd from what I'm seeing right now. So this is interesting. Well, you'll have to go back and see if you can figure out what happened there, Kevin. But Fleischle's doing a pretty good job of holding on to his position, although Otis has closed up onto the back of him. So we'll see if that little dent is going to hurt him. In fact, we're going to see right now as Otis has the draft coming through NASCAR 3 and 4. He's going to go to the outside as they hit the front stretch down past the pit entry, and it looks like he's going to have the speed to get it done before turn 1 as the DP of Alan Hessebeck just screams on by.
So, remember a couple laps ago, I was wondering why there was all that black smoke in turn 1? Well, the answer is it was the 2nd place car, Lionel Calisto. He got loose under braking for turn 1, which I don't think I've ever seen before, and spun it to the inside of the pit wall, backed it in up and over the wall, pretty much destroyed that car. So he had to serve a pit stop and get a fresh car, and he is way in the back of the field in 25th overall currently, Joe.
Ooh, disappointment for our pole sitter, so he'll have a lot of work to do. Hopefully he can continue to have the pace and keep that car in one piece through the rest of this as we continue to watch Jason Fleischle, who has lost a position, now sits in 3rd behind Ryan Otis, who has moved himself up. Now, where did Ryan Otis qualify? Qualified, well, this doesn't help us. He qualified in 20th, but that was overall with all of this thing, so we won't be able to really tell exactly how many positions guys have gained, although I think 16th was the highest GT car, so he's gained 4 spots, I believe.
Yeah, he's been up there. Those guys have been, except for the driver we lost, those guys have been running pretty close up there. And I think that Fleishley is Kevin nailed it. I think he's just sitting back and saving fuel. I don't think he really wants to be in front.
And our DP leader, George Sandman, just got hit by Robert Pretis in a GT3 car. Sandman was passing in the International Horseshoe, and Pretis kind of just accidentally touched him. Not a big hit, but could be just enough to kind of throw the aero balance off on that DP car a little bit. We'll have to see if that catches out George Sandman, but I don't think it will.
We're looking at the replay now with that star-strad car of George Sandman, heading towards the International Horseshoe. Once again, unfortunately, our connection is being a little screwy on the car that's interrupting. Now we can see it. Oh, just a little bit of a tap. Whew, good heads up by that roof driver to just weave out of the way at the right time to lighten that blow. But boy, he's not going to appreciate that, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So Pretis went in a little deep on the corner, missed his braking point. I'm not sure if Sandman thought that Pretis was giving him that corner or not, and probably assumed that he was being given the corner and went through and took the normal line, only to discover that no, Pretis was not actually giving him the corner, and yeah, we got that little bit of contact there.
So interestingly, back up at the very front, James Wyckoff, you mentioned, using David Williams, his teammate, and Williams is actually behind, though. Is he going to bump draft?
Watch this. Yeah, they've been doing it last couple laps.
Interesting. Pulling a card from the NASCAR guys. The only thing is, though, it's going to be very easy for Williams to get damage on the front of that car doing that. So he's got to be very careful, especially because if he loses contact, then he'll drop away very quickly.
Well, Williams being a lap down, probably how his car, the beauty of his nose is probably not the most important thing to him right now. Boy, he's really banging on him.
Remember, he came in and got his fresh car, I believe, because he had some early drama. So it should be a clean car. So as they work their way around turn one, looks like almost Ferrari-esque tactics there, with teammates helping each other out to the sacrifice of one, as Williams goes just a little bit wide, but I don't think he's going to lose contact through here and keeps hold of it. Let's switch to Brian Bennett, who is working his way towards a Gulf-colored McLaren in the 10th and 9th position. That's Brendan Hobart just in front of him, who's going to take a look on a roof into turn 3 there, but nothing doing.
And that's James Paulson in the red and white roof in front of him. So good little three-way battle going on here for sure.
That is for 8th, 9th, and 10th. As I mentioned before, Bennett closing up just a little bit on Hobart as they come to the Western Horseshoe. Not close enough to make it happen. Just behind them, they have Ryan Toma, who is a vet, and he's going to be able to breeze on by once they get to the oval here.
And remember, that's one of those sort of four-position but not four-position things going on right now, as Toma is still 2 laps down on these guys, but hopefully in Toma's case, by the end of the race, he'll be on the same lap as the overall leader, if not the overall leader himself.
Guys, we talked about it before the race about the etiquette that the slower cars were going to show. I've seen the slower cars be pretty darn aggressive through the infield section. Now, you really can't defend on the oval. You kind of got to let them around, but it hasn't been what we usually see, where cars pull over and let the faster cars by. Those guys in the GT3 cars are doing a pretty good job of defending through the middle of the track.
And it sounds like the wisest place to try and hold them up. We were on board with Toma. In fact, we are still, but there's a battle going on still between Hobart and Bennett, and that's coming up to turn 1, but it looks like Bennett's going to just kind of wait it out as he backs off, even with the draft now down into the braking zone. But to what you were talking about, Bill, it seems to me, you mentioned that it's sort of useless to try and defend from these faster cars on the oval. So it seems like these guys are starting to kind of figure out the smart way out of being, a little bit more of a pain while still, not risking their car too much and being silly.
Yeah, there's a way to overshoot the apex and let the faster cars go by and not lose a lot of time. I'm not seeing a lot of that done by the GT3 cars. Let's go ahead and I want to follow back up. Let's go back to 32nd position again, because these guys are going to be a factor later on in the race. We'll just keep an eye on them. It's David Ankeny there and Barnes in 33rd and Murphy in 34th position. These guys are running the vets. They're running now they're not up there with Toma, who has really distanced themselves from these guys, but I think we're going to see these guys up. If I'm doing my calculations right, I think they're going to get to the GT3 cars before the 2 hours and 24 minutes are up.
And I want to give a quick update. Even though we've seen a tremendous amount of chaos, we've only just now had our first withdrawal. That's Michael Dow. He's currently in 28th. He'll be falling back down the order shortly. Not sure what happened with him. He spun coming out of the bus stop, didn't hit anything, but stopped and withdrew the car. So I have no idea.
Guess he decided that this wasn't his bailiwick. But in the meantime, following Brian Barnes working his way through that bus stop chicane, Kyle G. Murphy did not have... Oh, in fact, Kyle got a slowdown, it looks like, as he takes to the apron and lets some other cars by, so that is not going to help his cause.
It's so excruciating to get that slowdown penalty. It feels horrible. You're watching all that time tick off and the cars you're running with just disappear. So Kyle's got to be kicking himself for that right now.
And it's extremely easy to do with those low curves. You want to be aggressive. You can really use a lot of them out there. So I'm not surprised if we'll see more drivers as time goes on losing focus and getting a little too ambitious, trying to use as much of the track as they can through there. So as Kyle Murphy now catches back up to the cars that he just let by, which is Chris Pence, he's going to try and get his way past. Let's see if Chris tries to go aggressive here and hold him back in the infield. Murphy didn't really have an opportunity in the western horseshoe there. Now heading up to turn 6. Doesn't defend, but once again, Murphy doesn't have a chance to try and sneak by. Now they're onto the oval, and now it should be an easy opportunity to just go around the outside, which he does, it looks like.
And Joe, I don't think we've talked about it, but it's really difficult for the Corvettes to get around these GT3 cars in the infield. Their braking point is much, much sooner, and they don't have the advantage of ABS. So those GT3 cars are able to just drive in really hard, really late into the corner, which the Corvette is not able to do. So it's very, very tricky for the Corvette to make that happen in the infield, and it's going to get really tricky at the end of the stint as those front tires start to bake off.
Let's jump just a little bit up, because Jason Pitts and Rob Gall have a good battle going here for the 34th and 33rd spot. Now heading up towards the tri-oval. Gall on the outside in the black machine, and Pitts on the inside in the white machine. Gall is starting to back out of it, though, it looks like. And yes, he decides to give it up down into the braking zone of 1.
And we have a four-way battle going on here for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, and 7th between Michael Smith, Matt Caldwell, Larry Ford, Cameron Jocelyn, and Jason Fleischle. These drivers are passing each other back and forth, left and right, all over the place here in the infield.
Ford takes a look up the inside of Matt Caldwell into the western horseshoe. Can't quite get it done, though. They're back to single file. Now we head on to the oval. Let's see what the draft plays out for these guys, Bill.
Yeah, they're battling, and I'm not sure they should be battling, because the Wyckoff and Williams show has a really effective, those two guys teaming up.
Yeah,
well,
it seems like they're
really
losing time. Oh, go ahead.
Well, you say really effective, but they've only gained about a half second on Ryan Otis in the last 5 laps or so.
Yeah, now that's interesting. Otis is hanging in there all by himself. I'm glad you brought that up. The distance that these guys are putting on is between 3rd and back. Wyckoff and Otis have been pretty much staying the same distance, but just putting a little bit between them and 3rd place.
Interesting. So that could be down to pace, I suppose, or it could be down to these guys battling. Those top guys that we were watching a moment ago were on Wyckoff. It looks like it's on again as Caldwell pulls up to the back of Smith, but he starts to back off. I'm wondering if these guys are getting wide. Oh, it looks like Ford is surprised. Oh, that was Cameron Jocelyn just holding onto it, and he actually scared Larry Ford.
He scared him off the track, didn't he?
Whew. Well, you know what they say, though, better to live another day and be able to fight for that win. So I guess Larry Ford decided discretion was the better part of valor, and in fact, he gets the spot back. I'm not sure if that was just Jocelyn deciding to give it to him or not, but he is back into position.
That was really entertaining.
Credit to Jocelyn holding on to that. When you touch the inside grass, that is not easy to catch it there.
You know, we were talking about Wyckoff and Otis. I know this. Otis's drive around the track has got to be a lot less stressful than having somebody banging on your rear end the whole way around the oval like Wyckoff has to have going on.
Yeah, it can be tricky to bump draft because you lose a lot of your sight, and there are bumps on the track. It's a lot smoother than the old version, that's for sure, because with this being the repaved version. But the cars can jump around, so you got to be careful with that. You know, I feel like these this pack that we were talking about, third through seventh, are starting to kind of get the idea to race smart, because it looks like they're not really battling each other as much. They're backing off in the braking zone. So it looks like these guys are getting the idea that they're going to be faster just staying in line.
And speaking of faster, let me tell you, Wyckoff and Williams made it work that lap. They gained a second on Ryan Otis this last lap around.
Oh, and I'm eating my words, as we just saw on screen as Caldwell was looking on the outside of Michael Smith. Now
I'm sorry. Williams almost got into the back of Wyckoff. They almost spun his partner out.
So we saw a glance of that, and then we switched back here to this battle, and it looks like Caldwell couldn't quite get it done in the Martini roof, so he backed off into turn one once again. Oh, but he gets a really good run coming out of the International Horseshoe, and he might be able to get it done before the kink. Yes, he manages to get by Michael Smith for that third position.
And guys, we're almost 2/3 of the way through the first stint here now, so guys are going to start seeing those tires really starting to fall off. You know, especially depending on how aggressive they've been on the throttle. Hopefully, they're able to take advantage of that traction control, maybe dial it up a little bit, and help them as Michael Smith gets a big snap through turn 6. I don't know if we saw that on screen.
Yeah, we did, and I was just about to touch on what you were talking about with the traction control. These BMWs, you and I experienced it quite a bit as we were practicing this car. It can be kind of tricky out of these corners.
Yeah, it really can, especially turn 6 with all its bumps in there. The BMW is not particularly fond of that. You really have to kind of feather on the throttle. The car's trying to spin out on you a little bit. And, of course, you want to get on that power and have it through the firewall as soon as you can because of the big, long straight after you. But, yeah, you just need to be kind of cranking that traction control up a little bit every couple of laps. Well, you know, every 10 laps or so. And that should take a lot of the sting out of it. But it can still get around on you in a hurry and end your race. So you can't just completely rely on the traction control, unlike the draft as Mike Smith just, whoa, boy.
Oh, this is going to get interesting. And manages to get by, but it looks like Smith was going to try and go back around the outside of Caldwell and couldn't get it done. Now he's under attack as Ford looks to the inside. That's going to switch positions, but no, he isn't going to be able to get an attack into the International Horseshoe as he has to drop back. Well, when Smith comes from a long way back and manages to not hit Caldwell, whew, these guys are really driving hard.
And let me tell you, I was on the roll bar view with Michael Smith riding along with him, and I certainly had no idea that Corvette was right behind him. I hope he did, because that was an exciting moment.
I could see it coming, and I was trying to interrupt you because I knew we were going to go 3 wide just as he ducked out. Good head on everybody for keeping that together, and still all 5 of these cars for 3rd through 7th are together within about 2 seconds of each other.
Yeah, and you can see still that looks like pretty much all the way back to 11th, I think drivers are pretty close together. And I see George Sandman is right behind, just passing Robert Harris in 12th. Yeah. So Sandman is into the lead lap cars already?
Not quite. He's the lead lap. He's second of the cars 1 lap down. The only car that's going to be next on his list is David Williams, and you know David Williams is about 3 inches behind our overall leader 1 lap down. So yeah, it won't be long. They're both on the oval at the same time, Sandman and your overall leader. So it won't be too long before Sandman gets on the lead lap.
Well, I can confirm that was Robert Harris in 12th that Sandman just passed. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Maybe Harris had some sort of incident, slowed himself down, and timing and scoring just hasn't caught up yet.
I think that's it.
As we look at Harris on the screen, we'll see if we can dig up what exactly happened to that BMW, that black and white machine.
Interesting. Williams has gotten around, I think, his teammate Wyckoff. So Wyckoff is slowing down.
Actually, I'm surprised this didn't happen sooner. The one thing that I wondered about is how come Williams doesn't get in front and help him save fuel, if anything.
Right.
If he could put him in the draft, then that it's whichever you prefer. Both ways will probably help them gain a little bit, but this seems like the easier and safer way to try and gain an advantage to me.
Well, I'll tell you, Joe and Kevin, maybe you can follow up on this. I found the fastest way to gain time in like these ovals like this is not so much bump drafting, but is slingshotting around. If you guys will change positions every other lap, I've always found that to be faster. Don't you think, Kevin, or not?
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. Michael Smith is off the track and in the tires at the bus stop. He is definitely going to have to get a new car on that one. It was a hard hit. And we went a little bit farther back than we needed to, but we'll get to see what happened with Michael Smith here as he's leading this train here coming into the Western Horseshoe.
Oh boy, he did I'm going to call it a rookie mistake, even if it wasn't. He poached his turn in the bus stop. That's not what you want to do. He started his turn in too early, made his initial approach on the bus stop too difficult, got loose, hit the curb, and around it went. And that's the wrong thing you want to do when those tires are old. You need to make sure you hit your turn in point at the correct point, and he did it way too early.
Yeah, we're getting ready to see it now. They're heading onto the backstretch. A vet had just passed him, but it wasn't really blocking his vision. It was well up the road. Yeah, just overcooked it, and you can see just how tremendous that impact was as it jammed him into those tires. A little bit of an iRacing glitch. I've had that happen before. So back to the racing. We're looking at Jason Fleischle as he heads onto the oval. He's currently sitting in 5th position. Just behind him, I'm looking at Sandman once again, who is up to 23rd at the moment, and sitting behind a bunch of GT cars, which he might go 3 wide here in a moment.
Yeah, let's stay on Sandman because he's going to gobble these guys up here. This is going to be fun to watch.
Takes the very high side as he goes by these GT3 cars. And, is he going to be able to make it past Paulson? Paulson goes defensive, pulls back to the line, and Sandman wisely backs off.
I don't think he was going to get there before the bus stop, so that was probably the smart move anyway. He'll get him now.
Another way to think of this is Sandman is only about 24 seconds from James Wyckoff in the overall lead. So Sandman is getting pretty darn close to getting back onto the lead lap, guys.
Exactly.
And we've got an hour and 46 minutes left to go, I'm seeing on the clock. And I want to double check with our director, make sure that is accurate this time. I got bit last time since the settings were slightly off. We got a reassuring answer on that one. So we're pretty sure that's correct. So as we continue to watch Sandman work his way around the track, let's give you a quick top 10 overall. James Wyckoff is our leader at the moment. Ryan Otis sits in second, and he is about 13, almost 14 seconds back there. So quite a gap already with more than half the race to go here. Matt Caldwell sits in third. Then it's Larry Ford, Jason Fleischle, and Cameron Jocelyn in sixth. Ryan Worley in seventh. James Paulson in 8th, Brian Bennett in 9th, and then rounding out the top 10 is Brandon Hobart.
I think we should go ahead and talk about Ryan Toma back in 28th position. He's the fastest of the vets, and following him is David Akany there. And I'm going to get that name right. What do you think that is, Joe? Do you want to take a guess at that one? David Ankeny, I think.
Ankeny? Actually, I
that.
have the pronunciations. I'm going to see if while you talk, I'm going to look it
See,
up.
that's why you get the big one. They send you the pronunciations. I have to make them up. Brian Barnes is in third place of the vets. And my pick, Jason Pitts. Now wait for those pit stops to come. And here it is right now. Jason Pitts coming into the pits. This is his forte. Actually, his real last name is Cauliflower, but he changed it because of his effectiveness of pit stop strategy. So keep an eye on this, as Jason Pitts is really our first vet to be coming in.
Bill knows all the backstories. That's why we pay you the bid bucks, Bill.
That sounds like a Kevin Brown fact to me, actually.
It's that kind of analysis that's going to get us those high-paying iRacing contracts.
And guys, I'd like to go back to this battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Larry Ford, Cameron Johnson, Jason Fleischle, Ryan Worley's not far behind. But Fleischle, Ford, and Jocelyn are swapping positions around left and right, even though two of these cars look like they'd kind of be better off in the wrecker's yard. But these guys, maybe not being the fastest out there, but having a lot of fun. There's a Porsche off. That was Matt Caldwell spinning out of third overall. He's just getting eaten up, drops down to 10th. We're going to have to find the replay on that one.
Yeah, we're looking it up and seeing. Just a quick aside, that's Ankeny for David Ankeny. So apologies to David for botching that numerous times already, but that is how it says on my chart, at least. Now, as we watch Caldwell work his way through the infield, through that fast left-hand kink, should be just about flat out. Let's see what happened here in the braking of the Western Horseshoe where he spun. Roof can just come around on you, and it looks like that's exactly what happened on that rear engine car.
Yeah, and again, I think that lack of rear wing that is the hot setup for the roofs bit him again. And now I see a lot of smoke coming out of the bus stop. That is Jocelyn.
That's Cameron Jocelyn.
Spinning out of the bus stop. Looks like too much curb.
We are not left wanting for action already, guys, that's for sure. And we still have just everyone but one, is that correct? Has anybody else retired?
There's Andy Kennedy is 7 laps down doing a lot of repair. He's in pit lane right now. But 40th up, looks like everybody's still racing.
So credit to Jocelyn as we watch that replay. That car was very tail happy, huge tank slapper, and managed to keep it out of the outside wall. It's very easy to get it on either side if you start to spin it out of that bus stop chicane. So big credit to Jocelyn, who's now right behind Wayne Hutchinson, who sits in 35th in the Corvette. Is that a Corvette? That's and looks like we're taking a short break here, actually. Oh, sorry, that was an accident from our director.
So I do want to report I was slightly wrong, and Wayne Hutchinson in his own Corvette. Jimbo Pfeiffer is in pit lane getting repaired. He spun it onto the inside of the tire wall in turn 1, heavy damage on the front, so he's trying to get that fixed. Don't know if he will be able to rejoin the race. But yeah, only one... No, scratch that. Looks like he just retired. So 2 retirements?
I was going to say, Pfeiffer already used his spare car. Ryan Toma is in the pits. He was our second place qualifier. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, he's the leader of the vets right now coming in. The vets are all starting to come in now that we've had Pitts come in and Toma's coming in. Looks like Ankeny's. How are we going to say that name again? Let's go ahead. He's going to stay out one more time.
Kenny. If you're a fan of South Park, remember and Kenny.
And Kenny, got it. So we have Kenny and Murphy and Barnes are running pretty much right behind each other in the vets. And we're keeping an eye on those. We knew that the vets were going to be first. They're really limited. They're going to have to try to time this so they make sure they get just so they can squeeze in with 2 pit stops. It's possible they may have to do a third splash and go at the end if they're not careful.
And as we watch Brian Barnes sitting in 29th, just a heads up on Sandman, who seems to be everybody's pick for the possible win, currently sitting in 21st is what I'm seeing. So he is the first, he's obviously the first car lap down.
We have a wreck in the International Horseshoe. Worley's backing up on the track. Yeah, it looks like he spun in the Horseshoe, and who was that behind him that caught him up? I can't quite tell. Is the McLaren of... I still can't tell. Anybody?
Well, we'll get a look here.
Brian Bennett, the 71, got caught up in that as well. Looks like they made some contact, a little bit of damage on the back of Worley. Shouldn't be too bad, but they both lost a whole handful of positions.
Oh, and that was definitely on the 71, who got into the right rear of Worley, just outbraked himself. It seems like a lot of cars are doing that into the International Horseshoe.
Yeah, I think Worley was already. Nope, I take that back. Worley was not already going around. He was side by side with the Corvette, but he was definitely helped by Brian Bennett there.
All right, well, we're going to look at the replay even farther back. We're on board with Bennett, and looks like he was slightly unsighted by that roof in front of him. He was trying to pass, it looks like, and just got a little bit more ambitious than his brakes could hold. As Worley backs himself out of harm's way. A good job on everybody else, because there was a lot of traffic working their way around the outside of those cars. Brian Bennett showing 8th on screen right now from what I'm seeing, so didn't lose too much out. 8th in a 42 car field is nothing to be ashamed of in that Epson McLaren. So, interestingly, did George Sandman just pit? Because I see Robert Pretis ahead of him a lap down. So. I guess Pretis, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that, I'll have to check that one as well once again. There was a lot of names, so excuse us if we got a couple of them off, but I have been trying to make sure and double check those. But Robert could have just been put a lap down from Wyckoff, actually, I believe.
And I'll confirm that Sandman has not stopped yet.
So, with an hour and 38 left to go, let's see, it should be an hour and 12 minutes, should be the halfway point for this race. We're getting kind of close to it, relatively, I guess you could say, as we watch Matt Caldwell in 7th with a number of GT cars together, and he looks to the inside, heading towards the bus stop.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about this. If we can get to the halfway point, we know that the vets are not going to be able to do it on one stop. But if we're getting to the halfway point, can't we start thinking about doing this on a one-stopper? Are we really that close?
No, they won't be able to do it. The longest you can go in a GT car is just about 55 minutes, maybe 60 if you put it on the fuel econo mode, and that's just not
Speaking
enough
of
time.
which, Caldwell is coming right in now. Which makes sense because we are just about at 50 minutes, is that right?
Yeah. No, we're about 47 in, Joe. So Caldwell, I think, is just trying to break up his stops so that they're all about the same length. So we might see guys try and run the first 2 stints full and go the 3rd stint the shortest. I think Caldwell's going to try and make them all equal length stints.
3-minute roundup, that's my excuse.
Sure, Joe, whatever floats your boat.
So Caldwell gets his fuel and probably some tires out there. And he was sitting in, was it 3rd, I believe, when he came into the stop? 7th, excuse me. So he should be back out and on his way soon enough. Meanwhile, we've jumped over to Robert Harris, who is sitting in 9th in the BMW, with letting a Corvette by, but he is battling with Larry Ford, it looks like.
Sorry, guys, I'm trying to figure this out. It looks like Jason Lundy had a 2nd pit stop already and a short one, and that seems really peculiar. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
So it looks like Harris is 8th, and that wasn't for position, actually, as he was going by Larry Ford. And I see some smoke in the bus stop. I'm wondering, no, I did not see someone into the tire wall.
Brian Bennett is off in the bus stop. Not sure if he's the cause of your smoke. Looks like, yeah, he was. He got loose on the entry and nearly stuffed it into the tire wall. Somehow managed... Nope, he hit the tire wall. He did indeed hit it. Not very hard, but enough to bust his rear wing. Very close. He should have wrecked that, no problem.
And we're looking at the replay right now as Bennett just loops that rear end around. And, oh, yeah, it was not a small hit, but it wasn't a huge plow into the wall. So he looks like the car is okay for the most part, but he is directly into his pit stop, though.
Yeah, that's a smart thing to do. Go ahead and just make that a bad lap. Get your stop, serve your penalty. You're kind of already in the pit window anyways. Get a full tank of fuel, go, and you should be good for. You should be pretty much back on the normal strategy.
And a fresh car to boot, I should say.
Exactly. Yeah, he probably had no idea how much damage he had, and was probably banking on better safe than sorry.
Well, boys, now we can start doing some calculations because Sandman has now got back on the lead lap, so he's a minute 45 back behind Wyckoff. So we can start doing the math, figuring out the fractions, carrying in the 3s and 4s, and we'll be able to see just how long it is before the Sandman gets there.
Yeah, it's starting to get, like you said, a little bit more obvious where he's going to wind up, judging by his pace. So pit stops will really be the telltale sign of what is going to happen.
He took off about 4 seconds that lap on the GT3 leader. So he's down by about 100 seconds. So that sounds to me like about 25 laps from now.
So here's, excuse me, here's a little feather in your cap, Kevin. One Mr. John Brown is up to 12th overall right now.
Yeah, I'm actually showing him as 11th live right now. So it looks like the old man's having a nice clean run, which is a counter to recent evidence, I will say. Especially when he races me, he likes to clean me off the track well and truly good. But yeah, he's having a clean run. I can't see any damage on his car up to 11th. He's 70 seconds behind the leader, but he wasn't going to be competing for the overall. Right now, he's rooting for a finish, and I think he's a good pace to do it.
Legends champion, perhaps?
Possibly. Well, he just jumped up into the top 10 even, so doing a very fine job. I mean, that's even though that's overall and with the other classes starting some laps down, that's still quite an achievement, doing quite good out there. Mr. John Brown here with an hour and a half left to go on the clock as he works that BMW the rest of the way around. So with pit stops, I believe, mostly over with the GT cars, is that correct?
Not even close.
Not even close. Well, then my instincts are completely off. So I was going to say we're going to try and hop to break once we get these pit stops out of the way for these GT cars, but we'll wait just a little bit longer.
We do have the leader in, Joe, so you weren't that bad. Wyckoff is in.
Wyckoff, and is his partner in? Yeah, David Williams is in with him dutifully as he's going to try and keep that draft alive. Meanwhile, looking at Larry Ford, currently scored in 15th. He has taken his pit stop and going to try and get back out. I see Jimbo. Oh, no, that's Jimbo Pfeiffer. Ryan Otis has come and stopped in for his stop. He was in 3rd last time by the line, so he is going to slot back down the order as well.
Yeah, sir. We're just a lot with everybody serving pit stops. It's a little chaotic on the timing and scoring, trying to figure out who's where, going on what. So we're trying to find that action right now, Joe.
Absolutely, no. It's sometimes there's just a lull in the chatter, just because, like you said, there's a lot to keep track of. Wyckoff is out, but I do not see his co-driver. This is interesting. Where did David Williams go?
David Williams was out early, already through the International Horseshoe.
Huh. Okay, well, those two will have to hook up. I'm surprised he didn't wait and just wait for Wyckoff to just go with him. That's interesting. Guess he's eager to try and get what he can on his own? I'm not sure. Well, Wyckoff is being scored in 6th at the moment. We're seeing on screen, and our leader right now is Jason Fleischle.
And Sandman is finally in. So he actually ran a little farther than the GT3 cars did there. I didn't think that was going to happen, but he was able to run that Riley a long time.
Now, we might want to pay attention. I think that's what you were just getting at Kevin.
Here he goes. Yep. This is what I want to watch, how Sandman handles his car on the out lap. As I said, very treacherous.
critical moments for the Sandman as he comes around that very narrow pit exit with the wall on the outside. We've also already saw Jimbo Pfeiffer bin it into there, and Sandman is able to get out cleanly.
And he's getting loose all over the place already. I don't know if you're easily able to see it, but yeah, he's gotten loose on every corner so far.
Where the camera is tight on him. Now we've hopped on board and see what it's like.
Wow.
He was on the brakes
kink.
hard through the kink, just trying to keep it in one place.
What kind of speed are they doing through there normally? Because that is not a place I would imagine you want the car to be hairy.
It is fast. It is flat out in high fourth, maybe fifth. I can't recall exactly, but he was just creeping through that corner and almost gets loose on six again. Oh boy!
I just want to hang on here until his tires warm up, because this is pretty entertaining stuff right now. Watching this guy try to hold on to the car now, coming through the NASCAR 1 and 2, now into the braking of the bus stop. Let's see how he handles coming out of it. Let's see if the tires have finally warmed up.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too much of an issue here. Yep, there he goes. Nice.
Yep.
And easy
Okay.
out.
So now he's finally got a handle on things, but definitely some scary moments there for Mr. Sandman. And as things are updating, it looks like he is 15th right now, and the last car on the lead lap from what I'm seeing.
Well, it's going to be close going into one here as we stay on.
But look at this. Who is this trying to compete with him? That is Jason Pitts, who is a lap down. So this isn't for position, but he was holding him off. So this is once again interclass battling that we kind of wondered if we would see. Is he going to try and hold him off through the infield? Of course,
looks like he should be able to.
Well,
it's interesting. It's going to be interesting.
It shouldn't be a challenge because Sandman's. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Pitts is not on old tires. Pitts is on pretty fresh tires as well.
Yeah, they both made their pit stop, so this will be fun to watch here for a second. You know, George Sandman got a real break when he came out of the pits. He had a nice, clean track to play around with the icy tires. It's a good thing if this would have been a couple laps ago, this would have been a lot easier for the car here that's hunting.
Yeah, you see, that's where George needs to go and seeking some sponsorship or something. Go to the icy guys and get them to sponsor his tires. Anyway, so that...
So the Sandman gets Somodex, buddy.
Meanwhile, Jason Pitts, who are riding on board with chasing Sandman, and I was just about to ask who was faster in a straight line, the DP or the Corvette. It looks like they're pretty evenly matched. Is that correct, Kevin?
Yes, I think so, because I think George Sandman is running less wing than every other Riley out there. But I think most of the Corvettes will be faster than most of the DPs. Sandman, as usual, probably kind of an exception. But we see Pitts right now in that draft. The Sandman less than a second and a half away. That's the magic number for the draft. And that's really helping Jason Pitts pull along that huge, big honking motor up front. And Sandman getting a little loose under braking through one. Ooh, boy.
So, not out of the woods yet on those tires, it seems. But he holds it together now into the infield. And let's see if he can try and maybe pull away and get away from Pitts instead of giving him a free ride. Pitts, in the meantime, is definitely going to want to try and push every inch of that car so that he can maybe get just that little bit more of lap time throughout the race, holding on to the back of Mr. Sleeper himself. So, as the race continues, it looks like Sandman is on lap 32, which means our leaders should be on lap 32. Except Fleischle is, yes, he's on lap 32 as well. So we have an hour and 26 minutes left to go. So in about 14 more minutes, we're going to hit that halfway marker.
And now, Joe, I think the pit stops have all cycled through.
I think you're correct. So why don't we take just a short break? We will be back in a moment, and we will give you the top 10 when we come back. Welcome back to the Pacific Majors Daytona 2.4. We were watching a battle between Ryan Otis and Jason Fleischle. This is for second position overall. If you're just joining us, this is a Predator format with 3 classes: the Daytona Prototype, the Corvette C6, and of course the GT3 cars. And whoa, they're closing up quite quickly on that DP there. That means that all cars are competing together, but they were released with the fastest cars first. Oh, and Fleischle takes a look on the inside of Otis into turn 6. Can't quite make it happen, but the fastest car is released last, middle car released second, or excuse me, I'm really botching this one, aren't I? Basically, the cars are released in tiers, let's say that.
That works, sure.
Meanwhile, Fleischle still not giving up on Otis here for that second position. Backs off, though, into the braking zone of the bus stop. Not really a passing zone. If you really want it to be, it can, but we wouldn't advise it. It's gone south a number of times already tonight. So as they head back onto the oval, he's going to have the draft and a better opportunity down into 1.
And their battle has allowed Matt Caldwell to catch up with them. He's hanging out just kind of in the middle of the draft there. He's in a good spot right now to pick them off if they make a mistake. As we watch Chris Beck, the TT that they passed just a moment ago, is going right around all 3 of them.
If I can get GL, I'm going to do a little directing here from broadcasters from behind the mic. We can get our director to go to David Williams in 20th position. Now, he's the last car on the lead lap, okay? If we go 1 car back behind him, there's his teammate, and he's the leader. Wyckoff is the leader. And if we go 1 car back behind him, I think that gives us to, it's Stephen Paulson, and we go back another car. We go to Gary Nichols. Sorry, I'm going to get there pretty soon. Our goal is to get to, there he is, Ryan Toma. Now, he is your leader of the vets, and he's very close to getting on the lead lap. So now we kind of have 3 things to keep an eye on. We have our leader of the GT class, then of course we know we have George Sandman in there who's closing him down, but running all those guys down is Ryan Toma, who's just about to get on the lead lap.
And, we keep saying class, but we got to remember that all these drivers are in the same class. That's just our poor feeble minds as commentators just not working the way we'd quite want them. But all these guys are competing against each other in one class, even though they're 3 very different car types, GT3, GT1, and Daytona Prototype.
It's a different level of predator is what it really is. You have the prey, you have the middle predator, and then you have the grand predator. The T-Rex is considered to be the Corvette.
Well, thank goodness there's no HPDs here, because then what's that? The alien species?
That would be the aliens, yes.
With how high tech those cars are, I wouldn't be surprised if they had the Predator technology on them. But Ryan Toma in 21st has a Corvette with plenty of Chevrolet technology, but just enough to try and reel in these GT3 cars ahead of him, and currently sitting in 21st. He's got a way to go, as you said. First car a lap down, and just has a little bit ways to go to get past the leader.
Joe, unless my eyes deceive me, George Sandman in the Riley is now in 5th overall.
Your eyes are not deceiving you. That's what I'm seeing on the timing and scoring as well. And what is the gap? 44 seconds. Okay, so...
about 11 laps from now.
Oh my goodness. So what was the difference between qualifying times? Let's take a look at that. So 38 to 42, about 4 seconds a lap.
Well, here's what I'm thinking of is he came out 3.5 minutes behind everybody at the start of his first stop, and now near the beginning of his second stop, he's only 43 seconds behind everybody. So he's made up almost 2 minutes in his first stint. So by that logic, he should make up another minute plus in his stint. I think by the end of this stop, he will be in first place overall.
Well, we have an hour and 16 left to go, so in 4 minutes' time, we're going to be the halfway. If he can make that same amount of progress, however far he's gone, you said 3.5 minutes? Yeah, that should be correct. I should know that, actually. 3.5 minute difference. So we'll have to figure out, do the math of 3.5 minutes minus however many seconds he has the leader at the halfway point.
In other words, yeah, I think I was right. So I'm just going to go there.
Are you ever wrong in your mind, Kevin?
Of course not.
Toma now can see the overall race leader in his windshield, so it's not going to be long before he gets him. In fact, he might gobble him up. Oh, maybe this lap or next. He's going to make short work here of, I think that's Williams ahead of him.
No, that's Taft Baldwin and Stephen Paulson just ahead of him. And Wyckoff is just down the road. Manages to get past Baldwin. Now up towards the bus stop. He's going to have to hold behind Paulson. They all go through their single file and can see the speed difference between the caliber of driver as now he breezes on past Paulson before he even needs the draft. Oh, maybe not.
Whoa.
I thought he was going to. Thought he had the speed, and they might be going 3 wide through here. Nope, just 2 wide as he ducks behind him.
And for our viewers, the easy way to tell Wyckoff and Williams apart, Williams has the white wheels, Wyckoff the yellow. So the Y in Wyckoff for yellow, the I in Williams for white, right?
Sounds fair enough to me. Oh, but look, they're not making it easy for these guys as Williams is holding back these Corvettes. And now finally, Paulson lets Toma by. Toma has to try and sneak past Williams. Not going to be able to outbrake him, as you said, into this corner, but he gives him plenty of room on the inside.
That was a brave move from Toma to try and do that. I don't think I would have wanted to do that on those Corvette front tires. Easy to lock them up and drive straight into that GT car.
Toma is now past Williams and Wyckoff, so he is on to the lead lap. Is that correct?
That's right. Now the scoring time he shows him is 1:43 behind the leaders. That's basically a full lap, and that's going to put him about 1 minute and 10 seconds behind Sandman.
And a quick aside, we did have only our second official retirement. Andy Kennedy claiming hardware issues. He has retired. Jimbo Pfeiffer still technically not retired. He's sitting in pit lane. I'm not sure what's going on there. He's not going to be able to finish the race, I don't think.
Never give up, never surrender, I suppose.
By the hammer of Grabthar or whatever that was. I believe you.
Toma is, in fact, as we said, in 19th position, or is he? Yes. No, 18th position, excuse me. 18th position, and now the last car in the lead lap. So as he comes across the line, that's going to update, and you can see on your screens that number 18 there next to his name. And who is he coming up to with this green BMW? That's John Brown, actually, and this is for position.
Well, this will be pretty easy once they get onto onto the banking.
He's going to be overtaking plenty of these cars. I'm curious about watching the progress as time goes by to see who is more aggressive, especially in this infield, and trying to make progress. And that's really, I think, in the end of the day, that's the name of the game in this style of racing: is who can manage to work their way through all of these cars the best.
Guess who's in second place now, boys and girls?
Wow.
George Sandman, as he made short work of Otis. He and Caldwell. Come.
So how many laps ago was it that we were talking about how Sandman was 44 seconds behind the overall lead? It was only about 4 laps ago, right?
Yeah.
Because he is now 30 seconds behind the overall lead. Dude is flying.
So theoretically, he will be actually just about 3 minutes up the road at the end of the race if he can continue that pace.
Yeah, I think Kevin made a good point. It's going to be interesting to see if he gets there before the next pit stop. I think at this pace, I think he's going to do it easily.
Certainly seems like it. So Sandman was the right call, it seems, as we watch him work his way around the oval portion of the circuit, now towards the front stretch, I believe. Oh, or nope, this is the back stretch, excuse me.
And you know, this race is not over. We're praising Sandman, and I think rightfully so, but the guy we haven't really been praising as well either is Ryan Toma, and his race pace has been pretty doggone similar to George Sandman's. So I think Sandman overall has been faster. It's really tough to tell. But Ryan Toma, I don't think is really losing out to Sandman at all. I don't know if it's enough to catch Sandman, let alone pass him, but it's close.
Well, remember in qualifying, there was only a tenth of a second between the two of them, so those guys were pretty evenly paced over one lap pace, so it makes sense that they'd be relatively close over race pace as well, especially the caliber of these types of drivers. So that makes me wonder if we could be seeing Ryan Toma. What's the gap between himself and Sandman, actually?
It's a minute and 7 seconds. Now, I want to ask Kevin a question. If you had to race both cars on older tires, the McLaren or the Vet, which one would you prefer? Because that's really what's going to determine if Toma can run down Sandman, is how well they drive on kind of worn tires.
Oh, so the Vet versus the Riley, not the McLaren.
Yeah, the Vet versus the Riley.
I think I would prefer the Riley, just because it's the fall off on all four tires is a little more balanced, whereas I feel that the tire wear on the Corvette is more accelerated in the front, at least for my driving, as opposed to the back, because the Corvette has traction control, so it saves those rear tires a little bit, but there's no ABS, and that car has some pretty significantly long braking distances, and it's pretty easy to lock those fronts up. So for me, at least, the tire wear in the fronts is a little more accelerated in the Corvette, which means at the end of the stint, there's just kind of nothing there in the fronts, and it's really difficult to turn that car in. So my personal preference would be at the end of the stint to be in the Daytona prototype, but that outlap is so horrible of an experience that I don't want to be in the car at the beginning.
I was going and looking to see if I could find us a battle while you guys were talking about that. It looks like Ryan Otis and Jason Fleischle just cannot get away from each other. I'm pretty sure they've been by each other just about this whole race, it seems. And this is still for that final podium position.
Yeah, they were battling. They were having a really intense battle. In fact, like you said, they've had it all race. They've been right there. And again, I love that Jason's blue car there. That McLaren is gorgeous. But they were having a nice battle until it broke up for George Sandman to blow right by him. And whoa, what was that?
As we seem to still be on Ryan Toma here, so I think our director might just be quite interested in this driver. I'm not sure why, but we do have a pretty close battle going on between Fleischle and Otis off screen. Now it's on screen. There we go. Just making sure our director's awake.
So another battle to check in on. Ryan Worley in 6th, Cameron Jocelyn in 7th, only about a half second back. Both these drivers with fresh cars after their pit stops. Looking pretty clean, both of them driving fairly decently.
Okay, Jocelyn in that black and red machine, go ahead.
Jason Pitts is coming in for his second pit stop. Now, you remember he was in early before. Man, can you get there from here? Looks like he's coming out. He's coming out of the pits right now. Can you go the distance from here, Kevin? Man, that's a long run.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is maybe he's convinced he has to do a splash and dash, so he's making his first 2 stints a little shorter. I don't know.
Well, you don't argue with Pitts about what to do in the pits, because he knows. So this could be genius right here.
Maybe he's doing a 3-stopper. Yeah, it's the burrito-powered Chipotle car out there is currently sitting in 30th, so he's a ways down the order. But
yeah, but I think he's the second of the Corvettes. I don't think. Well, maybe not now after he's made that second pit stop, but I think he was running behind Toma as the second Corvette.
Yeah, seeing as how he's got that Chipotle sponsorship, you think he'd have a little extra gas on board, right?
Oh, we're full of it tonight, I guess. So Jason's working his way past some. It looks like another Corvette, the orange Corvette of Paulison there that he just dispensed with.
And Bill, to answer your point, Rob Gall is the second Corvette, and he's only 4.5 seconds behind Ryan Toma, who's the lead Corvette.
Okay.
So it's not over, done and dusted in the Corvettes at all. Kyle Murphy, the third Corvette, another 3.5 seconds behind Rob Gall. That's 22nd, 23rd, 24th overall. So these guys, there's still a battle going on here. This is still an endurance race, and 3 seconds is not that big a margin to make up in over the course of an hour with mixed class racing.
And and what we heard some information. I'm not sure what exactly.
Pitts and Paulson coming out of pit lane at the same time. Paulson gets him in the International Horseshoe. Paulson on nice warm tires. Jason Pitts on those cold tires, not working for him on the exit there. Either way, right now Paulson is in the lead. Jason Pitts right behind him.
We got some action. James Paulson actually is off track. I'm not sure what happened there. Let's see if we can switch to that. That was in the bus stop, and he's recovering now.
I don't want to alarm you, but I can't find Toma on my screen. Are you showing him?
Well, James Paulson just got loose going into turn one, the bus stop, not even close to turn one. Brian Barnes in the Corvette, very lucky to slow down and not hit Paulson. Good save right there, and stacked up a couple of cars. Jason Lundy almost got involved in that as well.
I think he had the slightest of touches. Wow, Paulson really needed to have his F3 on, or if he did, that was a gutsy move to go right across the track in front of those cars. But yeah, Paulson continues on. You can see on the replay now taking off and working his way around. He is now at turn one and currently sitting in 11th position. No, excuse me, 10th.
And Bill Ryan Toma is on track.
Right, he pitted. I went back to see what was up because he's falling out a lap behind. So he's taking a second pit stop. So I guess he's good from here.
So one thing I do know is Toma was complaining before the green flag of his network connection. He was worried that it was going to drop out on him, but it hasn't done that yet. So that's good news.
So remember that gap between Sandman and Wyckoff? It is now down to 10 seconds.
That's getting very close, and I want to report we do have our third retirement, Michael Lane. Just trying to figure out exactly what happened to him, and the answer is I don't know. He just kind of pulled off the track and exited.
Well, we do see that from time to time, and cars sometimes have reasons. With this being sim racing, sometimes things happen that cause you to have to just simply stop inexplicably. I remember Bill, maybe the UPS guy came.
I'll tell it real quickly. I like the story of Jan Koemans, who was a 3-time champion in another series. His girlfriend was locked outside the apartment, and she's banging on the door. She's late for work because the keys are sitting on the coffee table. She can't get in her car. He makes her wait until the pit window opens. He comes in, puts his car in the pits, dashes, opens the door, throws her keys, kisses her goodbye, gets back behind the wheel, and never loses a beat.
I didn't know about that. I thought I knew about a driver who actually stopped because there was a car,
UPS.
Yeah. Oh, and I saw a car off. That was Robert Pritis. Let's see. That was once again in the bus stop, and it looks like just a little bit too much speed into there put that yellow roof off track.
So we are in what I kind of consider the danger zone. We are halfway into the second stint. I got a Corvette spinning out of the bus stop. That was Kyle Murphy. He's trying to lock it down, gets onto that access road, and is able to stop the car from hitting the wall. Close shave there.
Let's look at the replay there with Kyle Murphy heading through the bus stop. Oof. Yeah, just overcooked it looks like. Wow, boy, that access road was perfectly placed for him, you have to say.
But to get back to my point, we're in what I consider the danger zone, which is the middle of your second stint of a double stint. That's where these guys are right now. That's the time when I feel attention flags, you're tired. And this is the part where you really start to struggle and make mistakes. And I think we're starting to see that now, guys.
Yeah, there's a number of drivers who seem to be spinning, particularly in the bus stop. It's one of the places that I flagged as a danger zone, and it's certainly living up to it. Every race I've seen here, it seems like drivers in just about every car have trouble through there.
Santa has landed on Weisskopf's roof, and it won't be long until he's coming down the chimney here, because Sandman has him in sight, so we're going to see a pass to the lead in the next 10 seconds.
Yeah, this is, oh, and this should be this lap. We are going to get a new leader here before we even get to the line. As we ride on board with Sandman up around the outside, there is no battle to be fought as that DP now takes over the lead. From here on out, it is going to be whether or not he can handle the traffic and keep that car out of trouble.
And I don't think there's any way that the GT3 cars will be able to pass Sandman now without Sandman getting into trouble, especially since that pit stop for the GT3 cars is about 20 to 30 seconds longer than it is for the Riley. And that was another Corvette off.
That was Matt Gelder. Let's see what happened to him in the International Horseshoe, if we can pull up a replay.
Yeah, he got a little deep under braking and just never quite on the line. Got a little loosey-goosey under throttle, and around she went. I would suggest you turn that traction control up there, guys.
Well, I thought you said the Corvettes didn't have the traction control.
They most certainly do.
Oh, well then.
No ABS.
Ah, that's what it was. So as he mows the grass just a little bit on the inside of the International Horseshoe and rejoins without any damage done to the car. Did he lose any positions, though? I'm curious. Couldn't quite see if any Corvettes had gone by on that replay. But in the meantime, one of the things that I'm curious about, since it seems like it's a practically a done deal, although, you know, knock on wood of choice for George Sandman, Toma was the lead Corvette, I believe, and I'm wondering if he's going to be able to catch Wyckoff at all.
Yeah, he's taken his second pit stop, so it's kind of hard to tell till the cycle goes through. You know, the series organizers does a good job. They calculate everything, try to figure everything out, and I think honestly, it's a really good concept, this Predator system, and I think they've done a really good job of getting it figured out to make these cars equal. The only fly in the ointment is George Sandman that kind of throws everything out the window. But, you know, what can you do? The guy's good.
I was going to say, you can't always take into account the aliens. And Sandman is definitely schooling everybody today, even though the car is tricky after the pit stops. And that, you know, that's probably where we really want to watch, I have to imagine, Kevin, that could put him out or put him farther down. Yeah,
you are absolutely correct. And there's a bunch of smoke in turn 6. Anybody see what was going on there?
I did not.
All right, so we'll see if I can. I'll see if I can't find that. But
all right.
You are right that the outlap for the Riley is probably going to be where all the action is, and what could really cost Sandman the race. So yeah, that's going to be the big story right now, and whether or not Toma is actually able to reel in Sandman. I'm just, you know, they're running such equal pace that I'm not sure that he can.
Oh, it sounds like we had a car cut the bus stop, and it looked like, yeah, that was a DP of, I'm not sure who that is. I'm going to find out in a second.
You know, sometimes my lap speeds here are so slow that sometimes running through the bus stop and taking the black flag, I actually run faster laps.
So I found the cause of that smoke. Matthew Rogers and Taft Baldwin and Jason Lundy all got into each other. Damage on all three cars. Looks like Rogers got into the back of Taft under braking, spun Taft, and Lundy had nowhere to go, hit Taft as well. So bad news bears for all three drivers.
We're looking at the replay, seeing if we can find it. Which corner was this in?
Turn 6. It was a while ago. It may be hard to find.
Okay, yeah, it might be a little bit too far back for our replay, unfortunately. I was looking to see if I can find ourselves a battle going on. I do see that Rob Gall is overtaking the car of Matthew Rogers, but that is interclass, so that's pretty much an easy deal for Mr. Gall as he hits the backstretch. Meanwhile, we're looking at Alan Hesbeck, who's sitting in a DP in 16th.
Hesbeck almost goes around there in turn 6. Easy to do in the Riley there. Get a little too aggressive on the throttle over those bumps. But nice save there to keep it around, or to keep it under him.
This is also for position, I believe, as he overtakes Pence. And Pence is overtaken by Gelder, which is not for position. Gelder being in the Corvette, that white Corvette there in the middle of that pack. And Hesbeck in the Gainsco red DP, working his way up into 15th now.
Yeah, those two guys are the last cars on, or the first cars on one lap down, so they'll be getting on the lead lap here pretty soon.
And
So-
looks like Jason Lundy went into pit. Wait, is that right? Sorry, I'll get back to it.
Okay. So Lundy is
No,
out
he
on
did
track
not.
from what I was going to say. I don't think he stopped. It looks like he's out on track in the Western Horseshoe at the moment. I was going to try and see. We're still waiting for Wyckoff to come in and pit, correct? Because I believe Toma has taken. Was it Toma that took an early second
Toma's
one?
taken two. Well, Sandman needs one to take one more, and Weisberg needs to take one more. And
So
yeah,
if-
Otis does too.
If Toma has already taken his stop, are we thinking everybody's trying for the 3 stops in the Corvettes then, or at least most people?
Maybe.
I love the definitive answers of today. It's very difficult to tell sometimes. So I can totally understand. What time on the clock did Toma pit? Because I'm trying to recall.
He came in later. He came in much later after Pitts came in, which we came in real early. So I think there's a possibility Toma might be able to go on 2 stops here.
So we'll have to keep an eye on him, and especially I think the real big indicator is going to be to try and see where James Wyckoff comes out. Oh, we had a spun Riley in the bus stop, it sounds like. And that was the same car that we saw cut the bus stop. That's William Fletcher. And the Speed Racer DP, it looks like.
I'm telling you, just take the black flag. So I'm telling you, when you get tired, black flag, straight through.
Maybe he needs to get... what was the monkey's name? Is he stuck in that car, maybe? I didn't watch enough of that show,
I hated that
unfortunately.
show, don't ask. Watch it because of the monkey.
We have switched to Ben Blank, who is sitting in 32nd, who is in a blue BMW Z4, and working his way around there in the number 18 machine through the International Horseshoe. And let's see, who is that ahead of him? Looks like Matt Gelder is just ahead of him. And actually, is Gelder in a battle here? Nope, that's Ryan Toma, so he's a lap ahead of him, I believe. And interestingly, Toma is coming up on Alan Hesbeck, who is our first car a lap down, who's trying to chase down Mike Taylor, and that he is a bit of ways up the road. However, it will be for position between Toma and Hesbeck momentarily here.
Well, I'm watching. If we go to Taylor, right? That's our leader right behind him there. If we're looking at that on the screen, so Taylor's about to be lapped by Sandman.
So these guys will be a lap down, so it sounds like you're saying. Uh,
Yeah, I think Taylor's the last car on the lead lap, and Sandman is being real careful with him here.
Well, I kind of don't blame him. He's got the more powerful car as he comes up behind that Bud machine. So there's no reason for him to be super aggressive at this point. His main concern, I feel like, for Sandman from here on out is keep the car whole and just run a pace that keeps you focused.
Yeah, and Taylor went a little wide there and let Sandman go by, so that was nice.
Light driving, even though everybody's racing together as he is a lap down. I want to switch back to Toma because he has gained ground on Hesbeck, and it looks like it could be on very soon as he gains even more ground under braking for the Western Horseshoe. We hop on board with Toma sitting in 15th, the highest of our Corvettes so far. Is he going to be able to use that draft? He looks so much more stable through these corners, and look at that, just going to be able to out-drag him around the outside.
Let's get the power down.
I wonder if Hesbeck is going to try and use the draft and get him right back. We'll have to see. He's holding on to the tail of the car. No, he backs out of it before the braking zone. So he's deciding not to try and fight that battle with 50 minutes left to go on the clock. Just not worth it.
Okay, so what I'm trying to figure out right now is if Toma knows that he actually has Sandman in sight. There's a lap difference between them. But being able to see the car that you're chasing is a huge mental advantage. Really helps you kind of focus and click off those extra special laps. And that would be to Toma's advantage very much right now. If he's able to see Sandman just enough of a blip, to really kind of motivate him a little bit more.
Well, he shouldn't be able to see Sandman because he's about halfway around the track from what I'm seeing. Oh, no, not quite halfway, excuse me.
No, they're both in the infield. Sandman in the kink right now, and Toma in the just coming through the International Horseshoe. But when they're on the banking, they're in the same section with each other. So on the straight approaching the bus stop, they're both on it. They're both through NASCAR 3-4 at the same time. So they're within sight.
This is true, although there is a lap difference, but that will change once Sandman comes in for his pit stop. So things are a little screwy with everything still relying on pit strategy to play itself out until the late stages of the race. After everybody takes their final stop, then we'll really have an inkling of where everybody stands.
So speaking of final stops, Matt Caldwell is in from, I think he was in third place in the GT cars. So he seems to be serving his final stop. So it looks like final stops have begun.
Indeed, and sitting stationary in his stall at the moment. And I just remembered that we said we were going to call off the top 10 for you guys when we returned. We never did that, and it might be a little bit too late with pit stops kicking off yet again, which is going to cause things to be a little silly for a little bit on the timing and scoring for us. So,
well, I just remember Matt Caldwell was our first stopper the first go-around, and he went a little early. We were talking about that. So I think we still got some time before we start to see actually the rest of the field start to serve their final stops.
Well, let's go through real quick then, just to give our viewers an inkling. George Sandman is our leader overall. James Wyckoff is sitting in second. Then we've got Ryan Otis in third. Jason Fleischle in fourth with Matt Caldwell, as we said. Actually, no, he's no longer there. Fifth is Ryan Worley. Sixth is Cameron Jocelyn. Then seventh is Jason Lundy. Robert Harris in eighth. Ninth is Mike Taylor. And rounding out the top 10 is the Corvette of Toma.
Oh, Kevin, those GT3 pit stops are painfully slow, aren't they? Oh, just go on forever.
Yeah, they really are just horrible. So, I can imagine these guys wanting to shorten them any way they can, but not really an option when you have to take that fuel and then you can take your tires. It's going to be a horribly long stop no matter what.
Well, but wait a minute. Under the Le Mans rules, right, Joe? They don't get to take tires, right? So it's either one. That can't be right. Is that right?
No. They can take both in a stop. The thing is that they can't take them simultaneously.
Oh,
so
okay.
if you want tires, you got to get your fuel in.
That's why.
Then you take your tires. So that's why there's the question of if you're in a GT3 car, do you risk maybe trying to run old tires? But from my experience, they get really slippery at the end of a stint.
I have a spinning Riley in turn one. That was Mike Taylor spun and backed it into the wall. A bunch of cars just barely missed him on the outside of turn one.
Let's see if we can get a replay of that. Oh, he did get hit, though, by a Corvette. That was Brian Barnes, actually.
Man, he spun that in front of a crowd, didn't he? Oh.
Yeah, here we see the Bud machine of Mike Taylor heading onto the front stretch towards the tri-oval. You can see Barnes behind him in the blue Corvette. He is the one that's going to clip the rear of that machine. This is such a difficult braking zone. Catches even real-life pros out all the time. Rear starts to come around, can't really do anything, and bam, gets plowed into by that poor Corvette.
Barnes' car doesn't look too bad. It looked like a pretty good hit, but it looks pretty good.
Toma now up to 7th, just overtook the 8th place car, Robert Harris, and he's got Brian Barnes just ahead of him, but Barnes is down in 28th, a lap down from him. So Toma has a lap still between himself and the leader, so I can't quite see how much time, so still waiting for our leaders to come in for their second stop. As he works his way past Barnes. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, I was checking to see who we had retired, and still Michael Lane, Jimbo Pfeiffer, Andy Kennedy, Michael Dow, and I realized that one of our early front runners, Larry Ford, is sitting in 38th overall, and I thought, wait, how did that happen? Turns out some time ago we missed it. He stuffed it into the tire wall on the bus stop. He had already used his reset, so he had to take a tow. Excuse me, that's what it took all the time. Lost a couple of laps, and I just saw Riley in the wall in turn 6. That's Brett Trosten. Looks like nosed it into the wall, went a little deep under braking, I guess, and a little lucky to still be running.
Let's see if we can get a replay of that as well. Wow, that's a place we haven't seen a driver have that sort of problem before. Oh wow, he went straight on there.
Brett Trosten.
So, and should have significant damage, I would think, on the front from
he does.
Now we're getting a look at the replay. Comes through the kink now into the western horseshoe. This will be the following corner after this. He's leading that Martini BMW. Ooh, almost has contact with the BMW, and that looks like that's what set him off. He was just slightly on the inside, tried to switch back outside, couldn't make the apex, couldn't make the turn at all, and into the barriers he goes. So the number 944 of Brett Trosten, now we can see that, oh, wow, yeah. Significant damage on the front of that, I will say, Lisa Frank-inspired DP from that paint job. Very 80s looking.
You're the art major, not me. So, also, we only have 4 cars on the lead lap right now. The first car a lap down is Ryan Toma.
And he is right. I'm sorry, Joe. He is right behind Salmon right now. We talked earlier about him being able to see him. He can see him now.
Yeah, right now, Toma, for quite a while now, Toma's been lapping about a second faster than Sandman. Seems like ever since Sandman got into the overall lead, his pace fell off. I wonder if he's, that carrot got yanked away from him, so I'm not sure if that's a motivational factor or not for a moment.
I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, maybe he's comfortable running at a slower pace and just knows where his limits are, so he could just be easing it back to not try and risk the car.
And Toma's on newer tires too. Sandman has yet to make his pit stop, so those tires have to be pretty chewed up by now. Toma's already made his second pit stop, but he is running them down.
We currently have 4 cars on the lead lap, and Toma is the first car a lap down at the moment. So this is all going to switch around soon enough with 42 minutes left to go. Should be seeing the rest of the GT pit stops pretty soon, I would imagine. Unless cars want to go as long as they can and have a short final stint.
I see 2 GT cars pulling in right... Well, no, that's George Sandman's in. George Sandman serving his final stop. Carl Burke in front of him as well. What I thought were GT cars from a long ways away, I was wrong.
Let's see if the racing gods are kind and they dump Salmon out onto an empty track again with those icy tires, or if he's going to come out in traffic. This is really his race right here.
It's his stall with perfection and is getting service now. I'm not seeing it go up on the jacks, though.
Boy, is he going to risk it, try and run the final 40 minutes on an old set of tires?
I believe he is.
I mean, was I seeing things? Did you guys see it go up at all?
I'm looking at it. I didn't see it go up. We'll know. We'll know right now, won't we?
I've seen that before, though, where iRacing has lied to me about the car going up.
We'll have to ask him after the race. Like you said, we'll see how squirrely the car is. If he's
on new tires. He's getting loose in the kink in the outlap. Yeah.
All right, there we go.
So now that he is stopped, and Wyckoff didn't get... No, Wyckoff is in. And we're still watching Sandman weave his way through the infield.
Oh boy, that kink is just nasty on those tires.
But he manages to hold on to it. I hope I'm not implementing the commentator's curse. He's still squirming coming out of the Western Horseshoe, now into 6. Wow, that thing looks like a handful. Finally,
all right, here it is.
out of
Safe
the
and
danger
sound.
zone. Yeah. Wyckoff is still stationary. Now he's coming out, and his partner is coming with him. Looks like Williams is going to exit just behind the leader of the GT3 cars, but second place overall. Although he should cycle into second place. He's currently scored as 5th, now 6th. Oh, it's is he battling with that's Hesbeck.
That is for position.
Oof, and he's not going to be able to hold that, I don't think. Although Hesbeck still has to stop.
And Toma is just coming out onto the oval right now, so you can see the distance that Sandman was able to keep with that pit stop. He didn't lose that much.
I'm seeing Toma scored in second, actually.
It's third overall. 20 seconds behind... 60 seconds behind Sandman. To make up in 40 minutes, that's a tough ask. Scratch that. It's now at 100 seconds. iRacing keeps lying to me left and right. And now it's back down to 50 seconds. So,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
so my
gotta be
timing
more
is all
like it,
over the
yeah.
place.
He was only just over a lap down when Sandman came in, so he's got to be something like maybe a half a lap down now, something about 40 or 50 seconds, I would think.
Sandman is heading on to the oval right now, and Toma is heading off. So
Here we go. Officially, it is 52.452 seconds the last time around. So, 50 seconds in about 40 minutes. That's over a second a lap, isn't it, guys?
yeah, I mean that seems simple enough math to me. I mean, like we said, I can't see if Sandman sees him closing. I can't imagine he's going to wait around either. And we've seen that Sandman has the pace. His tires are going to be warmed up by then. So, even if Sandman has taken it super easy to try and take it to the end, I don't think that this is going to be in the hand of Ryan Toma unless a serious mistake or some terrible misfortune happens to Sandman.
And we're still not sure that Toma doesn't need to splash and go either. So
Exactly.
has our second place driver pitted? I don't believe so.
Fleischle?
Fleischle has not, right?
Nope, Fleischle has served only the one stop.
And
Although he's on the apron right now.
Yeah, that's unusual. Not sure if we can switch to him. I don't think he's not slowing down. He didn't get a slowdown penalty coming out of the bus stop.
I think he did. I think he got a slowdown penalty going into the bus stop.
Nope, he's just heading to the pits. I don't think he lifted. So, into the pits goes Fleischle, who was in second place, should come out behind Wyckoff, who was who was in second place before.
And this moves Ryan Toma into second overall.
Whew. This is an interesting format, and I have to say, fellas, I really like it so far. It's a little confusing.
I do too.
But it's exciting.
It'd be even more exciting if we didn't have a dead ringer in George Sandman in the Riley.
That's right.
So Ryan Toma moves up into second. Jason Fleischle is now slipping farther down. He's in fifth as Wyckoff has gone by. Where's Lundy? Is Lundy going to be able to work? No, Lundy's in the pits.
Ryan Otis passes Lundy in pits. I'm not sure if Otis needs to serve another stop or not.
I believe he was fighting with Fleischle.
He was, but I'm showing Otis as having served 2 stops. I'm trying to figure that math out.
Yeah, that should be correct because Fleischle served his second stop. So looks like Fleischle put a little bit of a gap on him actually.
Otis came in for his second stop 2 laps ago, so that's that is for position Fleischle and Otis.
There is currently about
and McLaren off. That's Chris Pence right in front of Fleischle. Comes back in front of Chris Beck. Chris Beck, nice situational awareness to avoid that wreck.
Fortunately, I missed that. Our iRacing has been a little bit buggy today. Unfortunately, cars disappearing and reappearing on our screens if we're not close to them for some reason. But we're going to look at the replay of it instead. Here's Pence heading into the Western Horseshoe in that McLaren. That white and red machine just drifted wide. Actually did a very good job, I have to say, of keeping it from losing control off into the grass there. It's so easy to put it into the barriers in both the horseshoes.
Yeah, it really is. Just carry a little bit too much speed in there, and round she goes.
As Pence lets Otis on by, being a lap down from that leader.
And I was going to say, I thought we had a battle brewing for 9th, but it looks like as soon as it started, it's over. Rob Gall in the Corvette, easily around Mike Taylor in the Riley, although Taylor looking back at Gall, so maybe we do have a battle here.
He was trying into the
Gall
bus
goes
stop. Oh, that's going to be a slowdown for sure. He is well off into the grass. He's going to have to take to the apron, and he does dutifully. So this is going to hand it right back to Mike Taylor. Pressured him into a mistake.
That's how you do it, boys.
Just behind them, that's Matt Gelder. He is also in a Corvette. Is that for position?
No.
No, that is not.
Gelder's in 30.
So Gall has some work to do all over again as we hop on board with him into turn 1. Right up to that grass as he puts a lap on Gelder once again and trying to chase down that Bud machine. Just ahead of them is Ben Blank, and that is also for position, I believe. Yes, it is.
No, Ben Blank is in 29.
I was thinking of Gelder. Excuse me.
There we go.
Lots of names flying around. And Gall doesn't seem to be making inroads on the infield. So as they come around the Western Horseshoe now towards turn 6, let's see if he can get the power down a little bit easier than that DP and start to gain ground on the long stretch from turn 6 down to the bus stop. And it looks like, yes, he is gaining quite a bit of ground. Is he going to go 3 wide? Going to be hairy moments? Oh no, just going to get a little bit of a break there. I think he lifted, actually.
You can stay on that battle, but I just want to report that Alan Haceback from 3rd place has come in and made his final pit stop.
Tries not to go in to the inside on the bus stop, but he's going to get another opportunity as he gets great traction coming out of the bus stop. Now he looks to the outside of Mike Taylor. Doesn't quite have the oomph, though. Or, excuse me, Rob Gall. Or no, that is Mike Taylor.
And Gall's going to come into pit lane. So, guys, I want to go back to Sandman and Toma. Remember a couple laps ago we were talking about how Toma was 52.5 seconds behind Sandman. Remember, Toma is on old tires, Sandman is on new tires. That gap right now, 48 seconds. So Toma is the faster car on track. But again, is there enough time? He's still got to make up about a second a minute. We're looking at about 30 minutes left in the race. 48 seconds to catch Sandman. Passing, as we know, a whole nother issue, especially with these guys close in pace. So, boy, stay tuned. This one's going to come down to the wire, I think.
So, and interestingly, I'm trying to look at my timing and scoring. I thought I saw Hesbeck scored in 3rd, but yes, he is. He is showing in 3rd for me, interestingly.
As Bill reported, he served his pit stop just a lap ago.
Ah, that's what it was. Okay.
Maybe go take a look here. If we can get the director to take a look at Ryan Otis in 6th place and Fleischling in 5th. These guys have been going at it all race long. I mean, they've been closer than 10 after 2. They are right there again. The whole race. I love that. I'm going to say it one last time. I love that blue car.
Yeah, that nice Red Bull scheme on that McLaren. Very nicely painted as we ride on board. Now we hop off board of Jason Fleischle into the International Horseshoe. So somewhere along the line we missed that Otis had worked his way past him. Let's see if the McLaren can try and sneak back by the roof in the draft next time they get to the oval.
Otis isn't going anywhere. Those two guys are they're going to do the whole race. That's going to be interesting to watch come the white flag.
Looks like Fleischle might be losing a little bit of ground actually in the infield. So I wonder if Otis is the slightly more nimble driver on the technical portion.
That's one of the beauties about Daytona is you can really be slower on the infield section, and this oval section wipes away a lot of sins.
As we see George Sandman, the leader, swipe on by the car of Jason Fleischle on the backstretch. No drama there. Yeah, Fleischle seems a significant amount slower because he's starting to lose ground.
He is.
So we're hearing Otis ran a 44.8 and Fleischle was a 45.9. So definitely a gap between those two cars in lap times. Fleischle should have a clean car, I believe, since he had some early dramas, but probably got his free car in between there during the pit stops. And you can see on your screen now how much smaller Otis is into the braking as he grows just a little bit in the accordion effect through this first corner. .45.1 for Fleischle, 44.1 for Otis is what we're hearing. So about a second a lap faster, it sounds like.
And guys, we also have a battle going on 14, 15, 16 between Robert Harris, Lionel Callisto, our pole sitter, and Brian Bennett. Callisto and Bennett are in each other's draft, only a couple of car lengths apart. Harris not far in front of them. These guys have been nose to tail in each other's draft for a few laps now, but haven't seen any maneuvers out of the three. So I'm a little surprised. I would have expected Callisto to be faster than the other two cars around him, but at this moment, not really.
Yeah, it seems unusual that our pole sitter wouldn't be able to make inroads. Excuse me, GT3 pole sitter, we should say. But it takes a little bit of a look on the outside as he's out of the draft. Now he's really pulling him in as we hop onto the rear wing of Robert Harris, but not close enough to make anything happen. Just behind him, you can see the car of Bennett really close up to them. And now they head through the infield. Let's see if Callisto can make do with any of this ground that he's gained as he closes once again into braking. Looks like that car is much better on the binders. Meanwhile, Brian Bennett has closed up behind him, as you can see. So I wonder if Callisto just is having trouble getting the power down, but is very confident on the brakes. It seems.
Your guess is as good as mine, Joe, but we're going to see the draft kick into play here. Can Callisto get a better launch out of turn 6? Looks like no, he doesn't. Gets a big snap right there. He was flying, but carrying just too much speed. That's going to allow Bennett a really good shot here, and Bennett a handy chance to make an attempt if he wants to.
He's not gaining. I think he's lifting. So Bennett looks like he's content to just hold behind our pole sitter.
Very interesting.
Meanwhile, because of the draft, Callisto is able to hold on to the back of Harris despite that hairy moment coming out of turn 6, and he's going to have it once again, see if he can get up on the back of that black and white BMW around NASCAR 3 and 4.
Guys, Ryan Toma is in pit lane right now.
So 3 stops it is for our first Corvette on track. Let's see where this is going to slot him down, though, and if he can make the time back. Worth noting, Alan Hesbeck still sitting in 6 and trying to gain on Jason Fleischle. In fact, it looks like it's about 10 to 15 seconds. The interval is fluctuating on my screen. 10 seconds now, it's staying steady. He's got about 26 minutes.
Toma. Wyckoff out. Here goes Toma.
The Sandman's going by him, I think.
And I think it's definitely going to be a second place for Toma unless he makes a mistake. He's got 25 minutes to try and work his way past Wyckoff, and he's got about 7 seconds.
Now, it is in Toma's interest right here to make his car as wide as he possibly can, but nope, he's not going to do it.
Well, we talked about Toma being able to see Sandman, and I think he can see him again, but it's in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like that should be everybody except Wyckoff. Left down. Oh! That was Toma almost sending it off the course into the Western Horseshoe as we rode on board with him. Do you think maybe just cold tires, the braking caught him out? What happened there?
I think cold tires plus the realization that he's not going to get first and just a lapse of concentration for a brief second.
So gap is now, I'm seeing about 9 seconds between Toma and Wyckoff. Wyckoff still has his friend indeed of David Williams, although he's behind him. Let's see, are they still bump drafting, Bill? I saw them do it earlier still.
I think that's settled down a little bit. I don't know how many laps you can do that without just a mistake happening.
Well, practice makes perfect, I suppose, and they're doing it.
Well, it makes for a pretty picture, that's for sure.
Yeah, and certainly has helped their lap times, it seems, as they've... Where is the next GT3 car? It should be Ryan Otis, and he is a good 14 seconds back, if I'm seeing it right. 14 or 15 seconds back. So Wyckoff has the pace, and he has the teammate to help him out, and he has just been doing a great job in that car, currently sitting in second, but it looks like soon enough he's going to be demoted down to third as Toma slowly hunting in that more powerful Corvette.
You talked about Ryan Otis there. Jason Fleishman is still within striking distance of him. We talked about him slowing down, but he's holding his own.
And behind Fleischle, Hesbeck is now 6 seconds back, so he's reeling in the McLaren as well. He's got about 23 minutes, so that's going to be a done deal. It looks like Hesbeck is looking at possibly a 4th place here, depending on if he can get Wyckoff, maybe a podium. Let's see if we can find ourselves a battle for position somewhere along the line. I see Rob Gall actually having a battle, it looks like, and this is with David and Kenny.
Yep, that is for 13th overall. Gall, we've seen having had some adventures recently, got some fresh tires. Looks like Ankeny still having served only 2 stops on much older tires, and right now Gall's just driving right away from him.
Indeed, that explains it. I was wondering.
Harrison to the back of Lundy. Lundy going around into the International Horseshoe, saves it, but fortunate not to collect Brian Bennett as well.
Let's see if we can get a replay of that. That was heading into the International Horseshoe. Good heads up from everybody there. We're going to see it on the replay in just a moment. Side by side through the chicane. That is very difficult to do. And then the over-under attempted. Oh, and just had the door shut at the last moment by Lundy and had nowhere to go.
Well, I think Lundy was expecting to go side by side all the way through the corner, so was staying tight on the line. So I'll mark that one up as a racing incident.
Yeah, I can't blame either driver. It's just hard, close racing, especially later on when positions are at play. As we look at the replay one more time, and in fact, we are with Michael Smith now.
Joe, I gotta say, I'm amazed how many cars we have still running. We started with 42 entrants, not 43 because somebody's an idiot, and we still have 37 cars out on track. That's pretty phenomenal to me. especially when we consider what happened in the top split of the 24-hour race on iRacing last weekend.
This is true, but that's a testament to a lot of these drivers. And it is only 2.4 hours, I will say. So it's a little bit shorter, but and they have a spare car. Another thing to keep in mind. Something we did not have, that we did not have in the 24 hours of iRacing of Daytona.
Though you wouldn't have known it, seeing the driving standards by some of the folks out there. I won't name names.
Yeah, no slathering anyone's name with bad juju on here on air. But anyways, back to the race at hand. Let's go through the top 10 real quick because we haven't done that in a while. George Sandman is still our leader by some margin. In fact, an entire lap over Ryan Toma, who is up into second now. James Wyckoff holding on to third for the moment, ahead of Ryan Otis, who is in fourth. Alan Hesbeck has taken over Jason Fleischle for fifth, and Fleischle back in sixth. Ryan Worley is in seventh. We've got I've got Mike Taylor in eighth, Ryan Worley in ninth, and then Murphy back in 10th. So it looks like Hesbeck is going to be able to overtake Otis soon enough, as he is running him down with about 20 minutes left on the clock and 4 seconds on the track.
You know, Joe, it's a pretty good eclectic collection there of cars in the top 10. The promoters did a pretty good job of getting the numbers right, I think.
I agree.
So I'll read it off. In order, we have Riley, Corvette, BMW, Roof, Riley, McLaren, Roof, Riley, BMW, Corvette. You are right. That's a great point.
Hold on 1 second. What happened to James Wyckoff? He is now being hunted down by Ryan Otis. Was there a mistake that we missed somewhere along the line?
His last lap was a 1:57.4. So yeah, I'm hunting that down in a hurry.
We're hearing he has damage on the front left of the car, and he's actually lost the position to Otis after dominating this race.
He got punted by his partner in turn one.
Oh, it finally bit them. We wondered about trying that bump draft.
Maybe 2 laps back. Yeah, he got punted going into turn one, and he got into the inside wall.
Oh, that has got to be heartbreaking. Only 20 minutes from the end, and they had that position more or less sealed up. I mean, the only thing that could worry them was Alan Hesbeck, who's actually behind him right now.
Can I say I told you so? I don't get to say it with my wife very often. I want to.
Or at
James,
least
I told you so.
You don't get to say it with Kevin around much either. Oh, and we've got a car way wide. Who is that?
Brian Bennett. That is Brian Bennett.
And that is not for position. So that is a lapped car, possibly just pulling off and letting those guys on by. Bennett being in the 16th position.
Yeah. He kind of went a little deep, kind of accidentally cut off Ryan Otis in the Western Horseshoe, then was in the grass trying to let Otis by, and I think it just completely threw off his rhythm. Way off on the outside, almost hit the tire wall, and a bunch of cars were right on by.
And we're looking at some pit tents. Oh, Harris has got a smoking engine. We're going to see if we can find the replay on that. Looks like it might be too far back. Oh, we're going to try. Yeah, it's just a little bit too far back, unfortunately. And meanwhile, Hesbeck overtaking Otis into turn one. Hesbeck is now on the podium.
And guys, I found what happened. He got popped by Brian Bennett into braking for turn one, and Harris straight into the NASCAR wall on turn one. So that also affected Brian Bennett. He wound up spinning as well, and I think he was actually carrying some damage. I think that's why he had the braking issue that we saw a little bit ago.
Kevin, I'm gonna call these your fault for saying we had such good driving going on for most of the race.
No, it's not my fault. You can't prove anything. Nobody saw me doing it.
Commentator's curse. Commentator's curse. You're the one that called it. So, oh, and Ryan Toma had a huge moment into the bus stop there. I'm not sure if we can get a quick replay.
And that's the leader in front of him he was closing in on.
I was going to say, it is not over for these guys. Even though they have quite a gap between each other for the top three, they need to keep it on track and keep these cars whole. Where you see Toma now onto the backstretch, heading into the bus stop. There was a DP in front of him. I'm not sure if it unsighted him. Yeah, that was our leader, as you mentioned. Just completely gave the apex a miss. Somehow managed to keep the car on the track. So great job by Toma for not panicking in what could have been a much worse situation. Looks like Toma is going to get his lap back as he is now on to the back of Sandman.
If I was Toma, I wouldn't take my lap back. I'd just sit back there and see if I could pester him a little bit and see if he would make a mistake. I don't think he's... Maybe he wants to be in front, but that's frustrating to be just as fast but a lap behind.
Well, actually, so this is an interesting spot for Toma because I think with the draft of the Riley here, he's a little bit faster on the straightaways in the NASCAR section, so he might be able to pressure Sandman into making a mistake or using that draft to make Sandman go a little faster and maybe try and push him a little bit to miss his marks. This is it's not over if Toma can really force something weird.
We're getting information that Toma is running the 39 and Sandman is running a 40. And we have to keep in mind that Sandman is on older tires, much older tires at this point. The thing about the bump draft, too, that you mentioned, or you mentioned the draft, I believe it was. I mean, do you dare try and bump draft somebody who probably doesn't want you to bump draft him?
No, you don't bump draft a Riley. You'll pick up the back end and spin him around. Honestly, I think if I were George Sandman getting a little loose into turn one. I think if I were George, I might just pull over on the back straight next time by and let Toma just go by. Make sure that nothing weird can happen here.
There are no yellow flags here, so you don't have to worry about the guy getting the yellow flag going all the way around. In fact, look at Kevin Collett, boy. That's what kind of announcing you get here on GSRC.
Would you like to say how right you were, Kevin?
No, I'll just let that one stand on its own. And we can see some smoke there in the Western Horseshoe, and that is
Robert Predis.
Right in front of the leaders, having trouble.
Yep, but it looks like doesn't have any damage. Just spun it off in the Western Horseshoe. I will note, Kevin, that he did not pull off to the side on the backstretch, though. It was in the infield, so you didn't get 100%.
Excuse me for being 10 seconds off.
We expect perfection up here. So in the meantime, things have shifted around just a little bit, but Otis is still holding on to that fourth position. And he's doing quite a handy job. He is going to be the top GT3 car, actually. So, and we said, I believe he qualified fourth in the GT3 cars. So that is a nice little job by Ryan Otis.
And if we go back to 16th, we got Michael Smith and Brendan Hobart only about a half second apart on track right now. I think these guys have been fairly close for a while. David Williams is not far behind them as well. With a little help, he could catch their draft. But we haven't seen much of Michael Smith or Brendan Hobart today.
We did see a bit of Michael Smith early on when they were battling, and they're going to battle once again as Hobart comes to the inside, heading down to the bus stop. Oh, no, excuse me, into the tri-oval. And now he is going to hopefully outbreak him, by some margin actually, into turn one and takes the position cleanly.
Yeah, Michael Smith was smart there. I thought just got out of the brakes a little early to make sure that Hobart got through safely compared to himself. Still, this draft is so big up on the NASCAR section that it should be easy for Smith to catch up and attack if he wants. But they do have the Corvette of Stephen Paulison not far behind them.
I was noticing that. Is that for position as well? Yes, it is. So they've got 11 minutes left, though, so I don't think it's really going to be much point to try and fight him for that. As soon as they get to the oval with him behind them, he is going to be able to breeze on by. We've got, it'll be roughly about, I want to say, 9 laps left on the clock.
Sure.
So,
A couple of laps ago, Toma got really slow going into turn 1, and Sandman got right up behind him. And Sandman he's having no part of that now. He is trying to go he's got him about 20 car lengths now between him and Toma.
in fact, weirdly, I'm showing Sandman scored and oh, that's right. Sandman is in front of Toma, so
Yeah.
he's in front of him on track, but behind him overall. I even confused myself for a moment there, and they just go by Larry Ford, who is now back out on the track. Meanwhile, we were looking at that battle that we were watching for 16th a little bit earlier.
Yep, Paulson around easily on the high-speed straightaways as Hessebeck going side, door-to-door on the outside of braking into turn 1 for Michael Smith. Wisely backs out of that. That's not the best place to overtake there on the outside. But Michael Smith right up pretty close to Brendan Hobbert, but Hessebeck's going to be making his way through as Smith very deep into the International Airman.
Yeah, that is one thing you got. I'm not sure why he was going defensive into there unless he thought... Because it's not for position between himself and Hesbeck. There's no point in slowing him down. He's already ahead of him as we hop on board with Hesbeck trying to get by this GT3 car. And he definitely wasn't going to make a pass from that far back on Brendan Hobbert. It's bizarre that he just decided to hug the middle of the road like that.
Yeah, the only thing I could think is maybe he was trying to signal to Hesbeck, don't pass me here, wait, and then just completely borked his braking.
Well, he definitely borked his braking, whatever happened, whatever the intent was. Now Hesbeck is going to be able to cruise by, but unfortunately the draft has pulled away from poor Smith. He might be able to get just a little bit there from Hesbeck and close in a little bit more. Yes, he does. Now up into the braking zone, so now he's going to be back into contention, try and get back into the game with Hobbert and see if he can get that 17th spot.
Little bit of a snap from Hesbeck there on the exit of the bus stop. I don't know how well we saw that on screen, but that could have been pretty disastrous pretty easily.
Yeah, it is not over until that checkered flag flies and you cross the line, so Hesbeck has got to keep control of that car. We keep saying the only thing that can knock these guys out is themselves, and I would not put it past some of these cars with the difficulty and skill that it takes to drive them around a track like this. So Smith has closed back up on the back of his competitor of Hobbert in that Gulf-colored McLaren. Let's see if he can stay with him through the infield and try and get that draft working once he gets out of turn 6.
Oh boy, there's some action in the bus stop going on.
Yeah.
Yep, there it goes. Chris
There it
Pitts
goes
around into the wall. He was dealing with Matt Caldwell lapping him, and Pence just got all sorts of out of shape there.
We're going to look at the replay now. And they've got quite a bit of traffic, all three different types of cars in one spot here. Caldwell backing up, and that just caught Pence out. Didn't mean to go too wide through there. Got a little bit unsettled. You can see greedy on the gas out of it, and that barrier, even though it's got safer barrier up there, I'm pretty sure, is not soft. That car has severe damage, and 7 minutes from the end, 28th on track, so he wasn't too far up, but that's still a terrible feeling knowing that you've lost all the progress that you could have had throughout 2.5 hours of racing.
I think that whole situation was set up, and Kenny was passing Caldwell for a position, and they're in different cars, and Caldwell's in the roof, and he couldn't. I mean, there was no contest, but it all kind of came together at the bus stop.
And we're hearing that Wyckoff lost another position, and that's to Mike Taylor, another class, so he wasn't able to defend that to that. Wyckoff now down to 6th. Just a note, Spence still had his spare car, amazingly. No damage through both pit stops. That is a fantastic job, and it served him well. Brand new car, and he's out and ready to go. 6.5 minutes left on the clock. George
Interest-
Sandman leading, Ryan Toma in second, Alan Hesbeck rounding out the top three. Go ahead.
Interesting chase here is sixth position there. Wyckoff and Murphy now is closing in on him for sixth position. Wyckoff is fighting to keep that damaged car out there.
And Murphy is in a Corvette, so he is going to have a big advantage along with that damage on the front of Wyckoff. Currently, they're separated by, let's see, it looks like 4 seconds I've seen.
Yeah, I think he's going to run him down, and I think that's the last one Wyckoff has to worry about because that beautiful blue car of Jason Fleischle is back there, but he's well back, so I don't think Wyckoff's going to get the ball back in 8th position.
Now, wasn't Fleischle farther up? What happened? I thought he was battling with Otis.
Yeah, well, Otis is faster. Otis pulled away, and then they separated, and then Wyckoff had his problem, and here we go for the pass here.
It seems like a large distance though between Fleischle and Otis. That's a ginormous distance between those two. There must have been a problem with Fleischle somewhere along the line.
No, they were battling all race, and I don't think so. I think Otis has finally just drove away from him.
Yeah, I agree with. Well, there was a lap 71 for Fleischle was a 153.2. Lap 73 was a 159.5. So Fleischle has some extracurriculars going on there.
Interesting way to put it. So as we watch that 9th place car, and who is that behind him actually? Can't see that car. Looks like David Ankney behind him. I thought I saw another car. Oh, I guess that was the car of Gary Nichols ahead of him that I was seeing. So disregard. And regardless, we are now under 5 minutes left to go, down to 4 minutes on the clock. And most of the things have been settled on track. And it looks like Murphy just got past Wyckoff.
We got one more to look at here. We haven't heard much from Rob. My eyes are bad. Is it Gall? Gall, I guess. He has a shot at running down Wyckoff for 8th or 7th place now.
I also see that Brendan Hobart and David Williams are quite close on track. Hobart being the car ahead, where there we see Williams in the yellow and black BMW. Let's see if he can reel him in with the draft.
For the viewers, this Predator format really makes it interesting for us in the booth here to find battles, because a battle that is 6 or 7 seconds apart really is not that if there's two different cars, you know?
Exactly, and I'm always having to check to see, is this battle just about over? Because if, Williams is right on top of Hobart at this point. This could be a done deal very soon. He defends on the inside. He knows he only has a couple laps left to try and hold on to this 17th position. He is not going to give this up easily. But as I was saying, we can see our timing and scoring that it might be 0.3 of a second, but then by the time we look at it, the faster car could be by the slower car, because we didn't realize they do not have the cars denoted by class on our screen.
Or in reverse, it could be 10 seconds, and you look at it again, all of a sudden it's 2 seconds. So yeah, it's really interesting.
And guys, I'm having a little bit of issues here, but Brett Trosen into the wall around the bus stop. Unfortunately, my replay is not working there, so I'm not sure what happened, but he does have damage on his front. He was in 34th, so not a real great night for him tonight.
Yeah, we might want to stick with this, though, because right now it looks like Hobart is under attack from Williams once again, but he backs out of it before they get into the bus stop. Hobart missing the first apex, getting the second one, getting a good drag, but not quite enough, as Williams is still right on the back of that machine. The Gulf McLaren now susceptible to that draft as Williams goes up around the outside. But is he going to have enough momentum to carry it through? Looks like he just might. Hobart holding on the inside. Now his car is going to come back into the braking zone of 1, squeezing him all the way down to the bottom. They've got a lapped car coming up. And is he going to? Yes, he's going to dutifully get out of the way. Great call from him. Holding the inside still for Hobart. Managing to successfully defend. Great driving by the McLaren driver.
Oh, right up on the back, almost touches him. Woo-hoo-hoo. Williams giving him just a little bit of a love tap, letting him know he is right there ready to take it. And we have just a minute to go.
And Gall is going to get around, really not much of a battle here. Gall is going to get around Whitecock there and take over 7th position.
We'll try. You guys will have to keep an eye on our leader. I believe he should be getting the white flag this time by.
He would have just gotten it.
But I want to keep an eye on this battle for 17th because right now we have a fired up Brendan Hubbard fighting tooth and nail to hold on to 16th position, 17th position off of David Williams, who had early trouble. Oh, and he looks this time into the bus stop. He's going to force the issue. Hubbard doesn't fight back and gives it up. A brave move by David Williams, but he makes it work with 1 lap to go. However, this could work in Hubbard's favor if he can hold on and try and keep that draft.
And if we're on the white flag here, the leader's now just pulling on to the oval. And he has gotten around, Sandman has gotten back around.
So Hubbard looks up to the outside as Williams defends down into turn 1. Not going to be able to get around him around the outside of there. And drops back just a little bit after that attack. Now into the International Horseshoe. Too far back to make anything happen. Is he going to close under braking? Williams goes very wide. Completely misses the curves. This allows Hubbard to get right back on him.
And Joe, our leader is in NASCAR 3 right now. George Sandman, a flawless run tonight.
Indeed, nothing doing into the Western Horseshoe for Hubbard. Let's switch over to Sandman. He is coming to the line now. Here he comes, a win for Sandman, followed to the line by 2nd place, Ryan Toma. Alan Hesbeck a ways back. Let's switch back to our battle with Hubbard. Oh, and Hubbard wins it! Oh! Out of turn 6, Hubbard got onto the gas too soon and went into the wall. And just to make it worse, Carl Hurd is coming up behind him, and he is going to have that position easily, being in a Corvette.
Let's go to 20th and 21st, Wayne Hutchison and Matt Gelder. This is for position between 2 Corvettes as they come onto the apron, or the banking for the last time.
Hutchinson in the pink car, followed by Matt Gelder in the white machine. Now we hop on board with Gelder, using that draft, closing up down the back stretch towards the bus stop. Is he going to be able to have it? Oh, he backs out before. Oh, and he's out of fuel. Gelder has run out of fuel minutes from the line. He shortcuts the track, trying to get everything he can out of this. Is he even going to be able to coast it? Oh, heartbreak for Gelder.
He's going to lose every position on this lap.
Oh, goodness. Whew, what's that, the advice that I've always heard? You don't play with fuel on an endurance race.
And Burke did gobble up Hubbard there for 18th, and Hubbard finished in that.
So the question is, who is the last car? It is going to be Gelder, the last car on track, trying to limp it home.
If he's able to. That's a long ways to go. Actually, if he's smart, he will cut down pit road to coast through, shorten up the track.
Is Caldwell still racing, or is that him just rushing back to the pits?
I can't tell. Callisto, Paulson, and Harris are all on the same lap as Gelder. They're all behind him on track. Callisto catching rapidly. We see him pass right now.
Nope, Caldwell's heading in. However, Gelder, I don't think he's going to make it. I think he's going to be feet from the line. Oh.
What was it, Dan Gurney that had to push his car across the finish line at Daytona?
Yeah, the very first Daytona 24. Oh, is he going to make it? He's just... I kind of want to watch and see if he actually manages to complete the lap.
Maybe get a little bump there.
Yeah, someone needs to come around and be nice here and just give him a little help. Oh, look at this. This is so close. I think he's literally going to be feet from the line.
He's still got
Oh.
about 11 miles an hour right now. I think he's going to make
My
it.
money
He's gonna
has
be
it. He's going to
fine.
get there. He's going to get there.
And
Yay!
10 miles an hour across the line from Matt Gilder to finish 24th. So
Can we
well
get
done, Matt.
Can we get the director to do that in slow motion for us?
I don't think so. The music is playing right now. We're being signed off. We are going to come back with interviews and the unofficial results. Stick around because we will have upcoming races on the screen, letting you know when you can watch the next exciting broadcast here on GSRC. Don't go away. Welcome back to Daytona. After 2.4 hours, we finished the first round of the Pacific Majors. In the end, it was George Sandman who came out on top, a lap ahead of the entire field. Ryan Toma finished second. Alan Hesbeck took third. Ryan Otis finished fourth, the first of the GT3 cars, so a very nice job done to him. Mike Taylor finished in fifth with Kyle G. Murphy in sixth, Rob Gall in seventh, David Ankeny in eighth, James Wyckoff in ninth, and Jason Fleischle in 10th, Bill.
Matt Caldwell took 11th. Jason Pitts, my prediction to win it all, didn't quite work out for me. Finished 12th in the Baker's dozen spot was Brian Barnes. Ryan Worley, Stephen Paulson in 15th spot behind him. Jason Lundy, there's a familiar name. David Williams did most of his race punting his teammate and finally punted him into the wall. We might get an interview with those two, see what happened there. Carl Burke in 18th, Brandon Hobart in 19th, and wrapping up the top 20 is Rain Hutchinson. Okay.
21st was Brian Bennett, 22nd Matt Gelder, 23rd William Fletcher, Lionel Callisto, our GT pole sitter, 24th, Matthew Rogers, 25, James Paulson, 26, and 27th was Robert Harris, and Chris Pence was 28th with that huge hit into the wall earlier. Chris Beck in 29th, Ben Blank in 30th, and back to you, Joe.
And then one John Brown, the senior of the Browns, is in 31st with Robert Predis in 32nd. Michael Smith finished 33rd with Gary Nichols in 34th. Brett Trozen finished 35th, 5 laps down, and Cameron Jocelyn finished 36th, also 5 laps down. And the last of the cars that were running at the end was Larry Ford in 37th. Everyone else did not make it to the checkered flag. That'd be Taft Baldwin, Michael Lane, Jimbo Pfeiffer, Andy Kennedy, and Michael Dow. And I'm hearing that we have the Sandman actually here for interviews. Is that correct?
It is, but I thought we were going to talk to somebody else first.
We might have to. Well, yeah. Let's then talk to Ryan Toma first, since we said we'd do him first. And I believe Bill is going to ask him a couple questions.
Ryan, congratulations. I can't give you congratulations on your class. I give you congratulations on being the top Corvette Predator, but not a class. You finished second today. I have 2 questions for you. First, let's talk about pit stops. You had to do 3, huh? Couldn't make it on 2 in the Corvette? And Ryan, are you there? Ryan would answer me, no, there's absolutely no way I could do it on 2 pit stops. 3 was the way to go. So let's try one more question if we have him there. Ryan, you hear me? Yeah, he's discouraged from his second place finish. He really thought he could get the win. He finished 1 car length behind the leader, George Sandman, but it was a car length and a lap. Okay, back to you, Joe.
All right, let's take Sandman next, since he was our winner today. George, you were the top pick from a lot of people for the win, and you seemed to deliver quite emphatically a lap on the field. Did you expect to do it by that big of a margin? Seem to be having...
Obviously, he's with Ryan, I think.
George, can you hear us? Oh, he's scheduling his button, so we'll give George a second to get that out of the way. George started 3 minutes and 30 seconds behind our GT3 field and managed to finish... what was the gap we said? So it was a minute 40 to the Corvette, so it's hard to tell what it is back to the rest of the GT3 cars. George, have we got you yet?
Yeah, you got me here.
There we go. All right. So that gap, were you expecting to be able to dominate that emphatically, or were you surprised?
Well, I kind of thought I had an advantage because they went off the average of the cars. So I thought I had, as long as I ran a clean race, I thought it'd be, have a good chance of winning. I didn't think I'd be in the lead before an hour with an hour left, though.
Tell us about the outlaps after those pit stops. We watched on board both times, and it was entertaining, shall we say.
Yes, very scary. It just wants to come around. It's just so no grip whatsoever on those for maybe a lap and a half.
You seem to manage it quite well. With Ryan Toma running a bit of a different strategy from most of the Corvettes, were you curious to see how that was going to play out with him with the 3 stops instead of 2?
Yeah, I just tried to keep my pit stops as quick as possible because I know theirs were a little shorter. But I did have a pretty big advantage, so once I got in the lead, I really didn't have to push too hard, and was just hoping that he wasn't going to be able to catch up.
That definitely seemed obvious from our end. Well, congratulations, and once again, well done on winning the first round of the 2015 season of the Pacific Majors.
Thank you very much.
So
thanks for putting this thing on. My arm is really sore. I have a new AccuForce wheel, so I think I need to turn the force feedback down just a little bit. But right now, I've got to tear it all apart and send it back to get it updated to specs.
Sounds excellent, and I completely understand long stints really wearing out your arm. So it sounds like Toma still has an issue, so it sounds like we might do Ryan Otis next. And I believe that, are we having Kevin talk to Ryan?
Sure, why not? Ryan, congratulations on that 4th place. You were the first of the GT3 cars. Must have been a little bit of surprise to suddenly pass Wyckoff there late in the race.
Yeah, I could tell I was catching him. I didn't know if he had damage or not, but I was pushing as hard as I could. That was a blast. I couldn't believe how crazy the first few laps were.
Yeah, there was a lot of action between the front runners those first couple of laps. We were a little surprised by it because we kind of thought you guys would work together and see if you could just take as big advantages as possible.
That's kind of what I thought too. Everybody was kind of saying, "Hey, let's just take it easy." And then as soon as the green flag dropped, it's like, well, I guess they can take it easy, but I'm going to try to pass a bunch of cars. And that kind of seemed to be the approach.
Now, there was a lot of action, and my memory's a little hazy, but didn't you have some pretty significant contact at some point?
I didn't have anything major. I had a few big slides and went across the grass, and that was self-inflicted. And then kind of early in the race in traffic, everybody got bunched up, and I got hit in the rear, but it wasn't major. It didn't seem to affect the car.
Well, definitely that reset helped you out then, for sure, huh?
Yeah, car felt better afterward, for sure.
Well, congratulations on the very fine finish. We're going to see you in the oval races?
Oh yeah, I'd like to make all of them. I've been doing a little bit of oval recently, trying to get brushed up. It's great fun too.
All right, we'll hope to see you at Daytona again in just a couple weeks' time.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Thanks for doing the broadcast too. This is great.
We have to thank everybody out there for putting on a good show. They certainly make the broadcast easy for us. Oh, and sounds like Ryan Toma is here. So, Bill, it's your show.
Ryan, let's talk about when you had 3 pit stops. Let's go right to the end there where you were in a battle. You were lapped down with Sandman there for the lead. It was kind of interesting. It looks like you were pestering him a little bit. Was that in your mind that you knew you couldn't catch him, but you might be able to have him make mistakes? At least that's what we were thinking in the booth. Another Emmy Award-winning question wasted. All right. All right. Back to you, Joe.
Okay. Well, if Ryan pops back in, we'll see what we can do. Let's jump real quick to James Wyckoff and David Williams. We're going to do a dual interview here. And Bill, since you seem to not be able to get anybody to answer, let's see.
I'm going to jinx these guys. They're not going to be there. Okay.
Well,
are you guys there? Can you hear us? Either one of you guys?
I can.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to say I told you so. When you watch the replay on the broadcast, you can know that I was right. What? How long can people bump draft before something bad happens? Huh?
Oh, that was just David not knowing where his brake pedal was.
Boy, he was deep into turn 1 there and still giving you some help.
It's all good.
It looked like it worked though. You got a nice. You guys were working together. You got a nice lead from away from your competitors, and then things went bad, and then it got a little worse there. You even lost another position there at the end. You couldn't bring that injured card home quite so fast, huh?
No, it was injured. It was pretty devilish to drive. It was pretty bad, but I just had to keep plugging away.
We like the Predator format in the booth. Do you like the Predator format?
Yeah, that was really fun. Really fun. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was. You guys put on a good show. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. Congratulations on. Let me go down the list there. Oh, wait for it. I'm not going to do congrats. Better luck next time is what I'll say. Get back to you, Joe.
One more quick interview before we sign off, and that is going to be Matt Gelder. If I can pull him into the booth, there we go. Matt, commiserations. We were actually watching, expecting a great battle, and right as we hopped over to you, it looked like a disaster struck.
That seemed to be the name of the game tonight for me for some reason.
So at what point did you know that it was going to be tight on the fuel?
When it came down to 10 minutes and I only had 4 gallons left, I knew I was getting pretty low. So I was short shifting and trying to stay ahead of Wayne as possible. And then coming that last lap, just before the bus stop, it just ran out of gas. And then I tried to coast and I lost a few spots.
Yeah, we were watching. We were cheering you on, unsure if you could actually make it across the line, but in the end you did. So hopefully next time you can get the fuel right. You were doing a decent race up until then, but again, commiserations.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the 500. So oval's more my strong point than the road course stuff is. So we'll see how we do.
All right, we'll keep an eye on you. That was Matt Gelder once again. And we are wrapping up real quick. We want to thank the organizer, Mike Willett, who puts a lot of effort into the Pacific Majors, and it is paying off. It is a fantastic series right out the gate here this year and this season. Also, thanks to iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, Behringer, and AverMedia, the software and hardware we use to make these broadcasts possible. Thanks to the team today, Bill Zahn, Giancarlo Lindsay, and Kevin Brown. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and race highlights. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel, where you can keep up to date with all the things that are going on with the Global Sim Racing Channel. Thanks goes out to Dougie Beard, who creates all the camera sets for the Global Sim Racing Channel, and a special thank you to Eric Ekholm, whose music is not only found here on GSRC, but in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. If you like our music, tell Eric where you heard it on Twitter at Eric Ekholm. Additional thanks to Casey Lalonde, who also provides us with the music for our broadcast. You can find more of his music at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. As you just heard in the last interview, the next race is going to be once again at Daytona for the 500 in the Gen 6 cars, Sunday, February 22nd at 5:45 p.m. Pacific. Please come back for that one. It's going to be a good race, as it always is, the whole 500 miles. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and I'll see you on the track.